It's a brand new day, midweek. It's a Wunderbar Wednesday. And here we are. My name is Benjamin Akako.
And I'm Sweetie Abochi. And you're watching us on all 16 regions on the Joy News channel, on live on X Spaces, on Facebook, and on YouTube. This is the AM show, your favorite morning show on the block. And now we're about to tell you what we have planned for you for this 4-hour package of the AM show this morning. Of course, we'll start by serving you the AM News, the first news bulletin on the Joy News channel. And after that, we'll review the newspapers with Dr. Kwame Asasante. He's head Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana, as well as a political scientist, and Dr. Jibril Mohammed. He's a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. Right after that, Muftan Abil Abdullahi or Haruna Mubarak will serve you AM Sports. And then we'll get into our big stories.
Well, the first matter we're going to be contemplating this morning, we have a conversation with an industrialist on sustaining a good business environment. We've heard from Guta, we've heard from the economists, but what does the 4-month stability of the Ghana cedi mean to these businesses amidst calls by Guta to its members to reduce prices? The question, how do we ensure investor confidence, which is critically needed in our quest for economic growth? We'll be bringing you thoughts on that. You don't want to miss it.
Well, we'll also tell you about EU-Ghana Business Forum, and you don't want to miss that. What is it doing for the advancement of our bilateral relations? We have the ambassador in studio with us later today to get us all the details. Of course, you can follow the conversations across all social media platforms via Joy News on TV. I don't know about today, but if we do open the phone lines, then you get to have your say. Remember, the AM show is sponsored by Waylead Properties, and we provide quality housing at affordable cost with flexible payment options. Welcome aboard.
Do stick and stay. The news is right up next.
Hello, I'm Sweetie Abochi, serving you the AM News on the AM show, and details now. Traders in Ghana are obstructing roads to display their goods, sparking concerns among commuters and drivers. Commercial transport operators are now threatening industrial action if authorities don't address the issue promptly. Nathalie Dawuda has more in this report.
Commercial transport operators in Ghana are protesting indiscriminate roadside trading, citing disrupted traffic flow and increased operational costs due to fines from unsafe stops. They threaten industrial action if authorities don't act, referencing Regulation 117 of LI 2180. Samuel Amwa is the Deputy PRO of GPRTU.
We commercial transport operators are gathered here today to express our deep concern about the indiscriminate trading on roads and pavements. Despite the Road Traffic Regulation 2012 LI 2180, which clearly prohibits such activities, traders continue to encroach on our roads, posing safety risk and disrupting traffic flow. We urge the Ghana Police Service and the government to enforce the law and take decisive action against traders who flout these regulations. If meaningful action is not taken, we will be forced to take drastic measures. On May 19, 2025, we will park our vehicles in protest.
Some drivers are frustrated with roadside trading, but are also urging the government to provide alternative spaces for traders if they are relocated from the roads.
As a driver, in fact, this thing is disturbing us and it's causing harm also to us. So we want the government or the authorities to come in and to drive the traders out of the walkway and the lorry parks or the bus stops. Yeah, they are Ghanaians. So we are suggesting to the authorities that as far as they are going to sack them, they should find a place for them.
The La Paz Traders Association is forming a task force to monitor trading activities. Shadrach Bingpong is the chairman of the association.
But all in all, we are doing our best, to keep the people back. Now we have taken initiative that in the evening we have a kind of task force that will be going around to check all these things in order for drivers to get access, free flow of the road.
Commercial transport operators in Ghana remain hopeful that relevant stakeholders will intervene swiftly to help curb the menace. For Joy News, Natalie Dauda reports.
The devastating impact of climate change continues to be felt in the northern parts of the country, threatening food security, pushing many into poverty and hunger. Civil society organizations are drumming home the impact, urging the government to implement policies that align with Sustainable Development Goals and Africa's Agenda 2063. Executive Director of Northern Patriots in Research and Advocacy, Bismarck Adongo Ayorogo, disclosed this after calling on the Minister in charge of Climate Change and Sustainability, Seydou Issoufou, in Accra. Here's more.
Northern Ghana is one of the areas bearing the brunt of the negative impact of climate change. From 9 months of no rainfall to flooding in the event of rain, the situation has become dire, prompting stakeholders including Northern Patriots in Research and Advocacy and Northern Ghana CSO's platform on climate change to push for mitigating effects. Although the previous administration put in measures, the stakeholders maintain these were poorly implemented, mentioning the One Village, One Dam, non-existent Pualugu Multipurpose Dam, among other projects. Executive Director of Northern Patriots in Research and Advocacy, NOPRA, Bismarck Adongo Ayorogo, urged government to implement its policies on climate change.
There is a need for government to make significant investment in renewable energy by way of hydro, by way of wind, by way of solar, so that we can have mechanized borehole or solar-powered or wind-powered or hydro-powered irrigation to support the people in northern Ghana to engage in dry season farming, so that they'll be able to make significant contribution to agricultural productivity, food security, create jobs, and ultimately reduce poverty and hunger that are more pronounced in the northern part of the country.
One area of concern is livestock farming, which Executive Director of Sajinang Impact, Alima Bawa, believes needs attention.
First form of savings for women or farmers in the northern area is in livestock. For the 9 months that is set at home, they are into livestock rearing. And at the time that the rains begin, that they're about to start to crop, they sell off these livestock to access tractor services and other crop inputs. And so they need to be empowered to continue to rear on a larger scale, even if we can support them with community level pens, so they can keep these livestock more healthy, housed, and they can be able to increase their productivity.
Chief Executive Officer of Global Media Foundation, Raphael Godlab Ahenu, says there is the need to make healthcare climate change resilient.
So we're talking about health infrastructure. How can we make it a climate smart infrastructure? And then in terms of immunization, we can have solar cooler chain system for this health facility. You know, it's a big problem when you go to most of the facilities. They don't have this cold chain facility to store the vaccines. So how do we make sure as a country that when we are looking at climate change, we are also looking at the health system to make it more climate smart, resilient, to help promote the quality healthcare system that we want to provide to the people.
Meanwhile, Minister of State in charge of climate change and sustainability, Seydou Issoufou, says addressing climate change impact remains a priority as government plans to build a sustainability hub.
We're planning to have a climate and sustainability hub. That sustainability hub is going to give leadership in the fight against climate change in our country and within the sub-region. Our intention is to have a world-class research center in that hub. We have capacity building unit in that hub. We have the climate think tanks who will assist us to generate ideas, bankable ideas that can bring money into our country. Okay? We have a climate finance unit as well. So that this idea of firefighting, because if you look at what is happening now, everybody is doing whatever he wants. How do we coordinate this effort?
The CSOs will be happy if government could fast-track the implementation of the 5-year strategic plan in renewable energy.
In other stories, an agribusiness institution, Pharma Global, has implemented its Youth Elevate project targeted at providing support to young people aiming to transform and sustain agriculture. The intervention project is designed to present farming as a business module to the youth, train them in smart farming techniques, and provide them with incentives. Fred Kwame brings us more from Ho, where the first cohorts of the project were provided with startup kits under the project.
Some of the major factors preventing the youth from engaging in farming are outmoded farming methods, lack of finance, and technical issues. It is also perceived farming is uneconomic and inefficient to sustain lives, hence young people tend to migrate to bigger cities in search of greener pastures. In this vein, Pharma Global developed the Youth Elevate project aiming to change the narrative and make farming attractive to young people. The project, being implemented in 4 districts in the Volta region, is targeted at training some 5,000 young people in smart practices in crop, fishing, and livestock farming. The first cohorts of the project were presented with startup kits consisting of farming inputs.
We want them to be the new school farmers who farm as a business, taking into consideration financial literacy as part of our key training deliverables, and more importantly, getting them oriented towards, value addition. So, as part of our program, we promote value addition. They're going beyond the raw materials and the processing. So, for those who are into the rice production, for instance, we are encouraging them to go beyond just the production into, processing. Connect them with the other processing plants for them to process, and then help them to come up with brands that sell, that add value, so that they can.
The Home Municipal Chief Executive, Stephen Adum, lauded the initiative and shed light on his objective to enhance agriculture in his jurisdiction.
During my confirmation as the MCV of the municipality, I indicated that I will make agriculture a very, very important in our municipality. And I mean it. I mean it. I am not joking. I'm a very active man, and I think that is the way to go.
The Volta Regional Agricultural Director, William Jamepe, entreated the beneficiaries to put the kits to good use. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Ho.
Moving on, gender dynamics remain a key concern in STEM education, with calls for greater female participation. Professor Georgina Ya Odro, head of sociology and anthropology at UCC, says raising awareness among STEM facilitators is crucial to addressing barriers such as domestic responsibilities that hinder female involvement. She's calling for targeted policies to sustain girls' interest in STEM. And Abigail Isel Nkrumah reports.
STEM education has become an attractive sector over the years, prompting calls for enhanced training for stakeholders as well as investment opportunities. The head of the Sociology and Anthropology Department at the University of Cape Coast, Professor Georgina Ya Odro, explains the significance of a workshop organized for STEM educators in the commended Negua-for-Abre municipality and address gender challenges in STEM education.
So we do know that we have gender subjects, and when it comes to subjects like STEM, comparatively, it is male-dominated, science and maths. So in this workshop, the education office is trying to get on board more girls. But then if the girls can be involved, then the teachers who are teaching them need to be quite aware of some of the gender dynamics and underpinnings which prevent girls from being in science. And now we have more women coming into medicine, which is good. But then the issue is when it comes to climbing, the consultancies, the specializations, this is also where we see women, dropping. And then engineering, and math teaching, but also AI. Now we are in the computer era, so ICT related. So there's so much to be done. The issue has to do with sustainability, because from experience, what we've seen is that when we have such funded projects, as soon as the funding ends or is withdrawn, the project collapse. We don't want to see that.
Mariama Abdullahi, a facilitator for the workshop, commended the practicality of the program.
It has really helped the students as well. So basically, we do this at the beginning of every term, and then at the end of every term, we meet together. And the program center mainly on teaching and learning of science and maths, TLC, which is Teacher Learning Center, as we also meet and then we learn as well in the course of the term. And then we also look at gender responsive pedagogy so far as girl's child is concerned. So this is to help bridge the gap between the male and the female students.
Some teachers in the municipality also share their thoughts on the workshop.
We are praying and wishing that Kweka would extend. We are hearing that very soon, in 2 months' time, the program will be coming to an end. And this is not what we wish, because it's a good program that those who are behind us, our little brothers coming from primary school, those who are informal, are yet to benefit. So we wish that they would extend the program so that every student in the country would also benefit from the positive impact that Kweka has made on the lives of our students, in their lives and in the profession of we, the teachers, and also the impact has made in the municipality.
From KEEA, Abigail Lissel Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
We have broken the myth.
From the University of Cape Coast, let's go to the Upper West region now, where residents are eager to welcome President John Dramani Mahama on his first official visit since winning the December 2024 elections. As he arrives tomorrow for his thank you tour, key concerns on their wish list include fixing the deplorable Techiman-Bole-Wa Road, tackling high food prices, addressing unemployment, and elevating the Wa municipality to metropolitan status. Joy News' Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa. We'll bring you the footage from that in our subsequent bulletin. But now let's get ready for our business update with Benjamin Akakbo.
It's time now for our business updates. We start straight off with our currency market. Let's get to our stories now. And banking consultant Dr. Richmond Etuahene has predicted the recent impressive performance of the Ghana cedi could lead to an increase in remittances from the current 60% to 80%. According to Dr. Etuahene, a stable and strong cedi makes it more attractive for Ghanaians living abroad to send money back home, as they can get more value for their foreign currency. He spoke to Joy Business.
5% system. And that is my main target, that remittances will move from the current position of 60 to maybe 80%, and that will help the economy. Now, the second one, to me, is the transformation of the agri sector. It is so critical. I think it's more critical than any other thing. If we don't restructure our agri and begin to talk loose about the agri, any money we get from cocoa or gold, we will use to import rice. So we go back to square one. That is why I'm saying that. Let us begin to think about structuring and transforming the agri sector to make it more viable, employ more people, and so that people will go there and also support the cedi. So I disagree with those who are taking that parochial interest of saying that you will get more cedi. If you get more cedis and inflation is 40% and depreciation is 50%, what is the value of your money? You always have to talk about the value of the money.
How expedient should these reforms be implemented? Medium to long term?
Yeah, I said the targets like remittances, for instance, is now and then. And I'm being told, reliably informed, and from the data I receive, I think we are moving on the right trajectory. I mean, I think we have moved from the 50% we used to collect some years ago. I'm told it's now about 60 to 70%. And I expect them to go to the Bangladeshi model, where you can collect as much as 95% through the banking system. And that is my main target, that remittances will move from the current position of 60 to maybe 80%, and that will help the economy.
Now, President John Mahama has given the firm assurance that he will work hard to stabilize the energy sector, including clearing the huge debts. He has also maintained that the economy will be high on his list. The president disclosed this during the town hall meeting with business leaders at the Africa CEO Summit in Abidjan in Ivory Coast.
I think that the environment got a bit toxic. I don't know for what reason. Government did not seem to prioritize the sector. And so there was a lot of disinvestment. They had little squabbles with all the oil investors. For instance, with Tullow, there was a squabble over taxes. And I think that, it was something that they could have resolved. Tullow went into arbitration and won the arbitration before we came into office. And so on the rest of the issues left to that were in dispute, we are sitting with Tullow and we're resolving them. And I think that that's the way it should go. Oil and gas, oil is in transition. And so, everybody who has any assets should be pumping like there's no tomorrow. And so, I would lay a red carpet to anybody who wants to drill and pump oil to do so. Because, in the next decade, 2 decades, I think that the world would have made a transition to renewables. So the environment was toxic. E&I had a dispute with another local company. Government took the side of the local company and asked that they should unitize. And a dispute occurred. E&I was held in contempt. They had to move all their expatriate management to Cote d'Ivoire for several years. And so we saw a decline in production of about 7% annually. And so oil and gas is down, but investor confidence has come back. New commitments are being made to produce more gas and oil.
Talk about some of those commitments that you are getting at this point.
For instance, we're going to build a second gas stream, which will handle more gas coming out of our first field, that's Jubilee. The Jubilee partners, Tullow and Cosmos, able to put more gas on stream. And so we need a second gas stream to handle that, because our current plant in the Trouble cannot handle the extra gas. And then E&I are back, and they are drilling again. And the early signals are that we might find considerable quantities of oil and gas. And when that happens, we're using our gas entirely to produce power. And so we have a gas to power policy.
Well, speaking of the power sector, let's check out what oil and other major commodities are trading for today. That's it for our business updates, but we have a little tidbit we're adding on today, Sweetie.
Yes, that wraps up the AM News Bulletin, but recall that story from the Upper West region and how people are excited for the president's first official visit since winning the December 2024 election. Well, that's the report now, and we'll come back later with a news review segment.
There are myriad of challenges in the Upper West region who the people would like President John Dramani Mahama to address during his tour. Key among them is the deplorable nature of roads in the region and then also the cost of living.
Cynthia Yabua is a petty trader and owns a shop at the Wa Central Business District located on the Jerry John Rawlings Street. One major challenge she wishes President John Dramani Mahama to address is the deplorable Tachimanambole Solowa Highway, otherwise known as N12.
He should look at our road for us. From Kumasi to Wa, the road is very bad, very bad. You go and come and you'll be feeling pains, your waist, body pains, you will feel all the pains. So we beg him, he should look at that road for us.
We were bumped into by this man, believed to be in his late 60s. He told us that he was already prepared to welcome the president to the region soon as his NDC campaign t-shirt worn beneath his long sleeve cloth shirt.
Me, I'm ready to welcome him all the time.
You are ready to welcome him all the time.
That's
why you are wearing this NDC shirt.
Yeah.
So what do you want the president to do for the people of Upper West?
To construct the road from Wenchi to Hamela. Asphalt.
Okay. Asphalt.
Asphalt.
You don't want bituminous surface? You want asphalt?
It says you too much jump, potholes, full of potholes, everywhere potholes. Hey, my uncle, come and save us from the wicked popular people.
Though a bigger portion of the road is in the Savannah region, its biggest commuters are from the Upper West region, which connects the region to the southern Gulf of the country, particularly Bono East and Asante regions. Vehicle mechanic at the World Magazine, Haruna Peaceman, praised the government for the appreciation of the cedi against the US dollar and the reduction of fuel prices at the pumps.
For the fuel side, 100%. Because at first we used to buy them high price, but now it's down.
He, however, wants the president to fix the deplorable roads in the one municipality.
From Kohimune to Magazine, and that place is not fine. And even inside the magazine, we're supposed to have like roads, it's not tight. So when it's rain, so the place is bazaar.
It was rumored in the run-up to the 2024 general elections that what was elevated to the status of a metropolitan assembly. It however turned to be an election gimmick intended to woo global voters. Tricycle operator Jimba wants the president to address what he called the failed promise of the previous MPP administration.
They say that before a region can get a metropolitan level, it's due to the highly populated rate. And as you can see, Upper West here, our population is encouraging. And one thing we should also admit is that like our educational system is also rising as well. So due to that, he can help us to achieve it.
The issue of cost of living, by extension, cost of food at the markets came to the fore. Azuma Yaro will want the president to address that.
The prices of things in the market is so high. It's not everybody that is able to get the basic things, you know, to eat. So we beg them, if there is a way they can do to bring down things in the market, like the food we eat, we will be happy.
For these two university students, they want a change in the name of their university and complete all stall development projects at the university.
The name is too long.
What's the name of your school?
It's SDD UX.
Simon Diedon Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies.
Yes.
And one more horse. Our horse are not, and more facilities to help us learn more.
But there are a lot of uncompleted projects at your school.
Yeah, a lot of uncompleted buildings. That one too. You can help us complete them.
The people of the region are waiting with bated breath for the president to arrive on Thursday with the hope that all promises made during the electioneering campaign for the region will be fulfilled.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Welcome back. You're watching the AM show sponsored by Waylead Properties. And if you're thinking of a rewarding investment to engage in, then Waylead Company Limited is your preferred choice for such investment. Waylead Company Limited is a real estate company with several developments to its credit here in Accra. And you want to invest in our new development, Willow Lane, where elegance will meet tranquility in the heart of Accra. We provide quality housing at affordable cost with flexible payment options. At Waylead Properties, we provide you 24-hour security, reliable power supply, and other social amenities to make your stay a memorable one. Now, give us a call on these numbers, 0240-111-119 or 0504-499-999. The numbers are very easy to remember, but you can also visit our website at www.waylead.org for more information. And Ben and I are here. Over to you, Ben.
Well, it's a Wednesday, and you know our usual guests will be joining us in a bit. I'm talking about political scientist and director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Asante, together with Dr. Jabir Mohammed. He's a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. They'll be with us in a bit, but before that, let's come into the studio and just digest a few matters as they get ready to join us. I don't know, so far from the tail end of last week to now, what are some of the stories that have really caught your fancy, caught your interest?
More of awoken some sort of curiosity in me. This thing about the absence of the president, the vice president, and the speaker.
Ah, yeah.
Exactly what does the Constitution say? Who's breaching the law? What are the repercussions of it? And of course, minority and majority will be pouring in arguments. And it's theirs to do, you know. They have to be an active opposition. I'm curious to also hear from our guests what they make of the minority scrutiny of government since this year began, because I think we've not had any dull moment. And in as much as we might not like it, I think it's good for our democracy. So that is on my mind. And I can't wait to hear what Dr. Kwame Asante's take will be on this, whether or not the acting Chief Justice is in his place, within his rights to be the acting president at this moment, when all three people who, like the president, the vice president, and the Speaker of Parliament, are not in the country. I hear talks about processes to impeach. I don't know what you make of it, Ben. I don't know if we are there yet, but this is what's on my mind this morning.
I mean, if you look at the dynamics in Parliament, it is clear that any such impeachment probably would amount to nothing. And I'm not saying the cause means absolutely nothing, but if you look at the numbers, the sheer numbers in Parliament, the NDC has 183 seats. Ablekuma North is still up for grabs. No one knows where it will go. The MPP has 88, independents are 4, and we have Ablekuma North, which is the last one. That, in effect, gives the NDC about 66.3% of parliament. You know what that means?
Yeah, it means they
so
can...
2/3 is what? 66, because it's more like 100% divided by 3 will be like 33.333 or 999%. I think 33.3. So if you add it, it's 66 thereabouts. If any independents who have, by the way, so far from what I hear, have associated with the majority caucus, then it is clear. So from that angle, I doubt anything like that would happen. You remember under Akufo-Addo, there was talk about same. However, the appropriateness or otherwise of the situation is what maybe we should be looking at. Some group may be making too much out of it, a mountain out of a molehill, but technically too, these were put in place so that there will not be a power vacuum.
Right.
So in the end, has there been a breach? And should there be, even if there will be no impeachment, should there be an apology of sorts or something? What are the consequences? Yeah.
Well, we have our guests with us now. Let me introduce Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. And I met him in person. Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante is a political scientist and the head Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. We also have Dr. Jabril Mohammed. He's a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, Dr. Mohammed, welcome aboard. Good morning.
Good morning, sweetie, and good morning to Ben and our viewers as well. Of course, my colleague Jabril. Good morning.
Good morning, Doc.
Jabril, let's test your mic.
Yeah, good morning to you and good morning to our listeners.
Okay, great.
I don't know whether you can see my video.
Yes, we can see you and we can hear you loud and clear. Today, no discotheque lights. We're just... No, go ahead.
Today I've decided to off the light because Ben didn't like it. So.
But it's not that I didn't like it, Dr. Jabril. You see, why you... Those of us who have never stepped in a discotheque, I mean, this would be our opportunity. And you are taking the lights away from us. Why are you doing that? Dr. Mohammed.
Turn on the light.
But Dr. Mohammed is my former classmate, so I can get to tease him and get away with it, sweetie.
So, gentlemen, we will take your brief comments before we get into the newspapers. But, Doc, I'm curious to hear what your take is on the absence of the President, the Vice President, and the Speaker of Parliament, and the arguments that minority are making on that. Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. No, Dr. Asah-Asante, yes.
Oh, all right. If you follow the rules of the game, we are all alive to the pyramidal structure of power in this country. That at the apex, you have the president, followed by the vice, and the speaker, the chief justice. That's how the pyramid is. So in absence of one, there should be an opportunity for another to step into the shoes and act on behalf of whoever is absent. And this is something that is always accompanied, that action is accompanied by a letter to Parliament, notifying Parliament about the fact that the president is traveling, so the vice will act if the vice is not there, and so forth and so on. So I expect that such protocols will always be followed because we are dealing with the rules of the game. And in this case, I don't know whether a letter was written anywhere that the president will not be in town, but in his absence, the vice would be, which of course we know the vice is indisposed.
Yeah.
So then the speaker and whatnot. There are a lot of missing links which I'm struggling to find because I don't have information.
Right.
So I'm not able to conclude very well, but
okay.
I'll give you something using the if conditions. And that if these things have been done, we expect that whoever is acting will be acting on the proper note, that he has been sworn in and the rest of them.
Okay.
If that is not the case, then there there is an omission somewhere which need to be clarified or not. But those are technical legal questions.
Right.
So as a student of politics, let me shy away from those technical legal issues for the lawyers to deal with that.
Okay.
But if there is something that is missing, then there is obviously a missing link which we need to have answers to.
All right. Thank you for those brief comments. And Dr. Mohammed, take the next minute and a half to walk us through your trail of thoughts for us this morning.
Okay. Before I go into my thoughts, I want to ask a simple question.
Jibril, 1 minute. Sweetie.
Yes, Doc.
I thought that this is a question for all of us because I have in mind something.
True. So I took your 1 minute and a half from you. Okay, let's get into it, and then Dr. Mohammed, I'll circle back to you. Yeah.
Okay, you say you thought it's a question for all of us.
Yes.
And I think that it's prudent we all address it.
So is that what you want to get into?
Yes, I want to chip into that before
all right, go ahead.
But I also want to come out with my opinion on something.
Okay, so gentlemen, let's just do this. Dr. Ansan Asante, you've moved on from the impeachment bit. Go on with your thoughts. Dr. Mohammed, when we come to you, you can touch on the impeachment bit before you go on with your thoughts. Does that work, gentlemen?
Yes.
Okay, so Dr. Ansan Asante, so you go ahead with your other thoughts.
Right. I want to look at the issue of this Sammy Gyamfi's case in brief. It is unfortunate that what happened. It is born out of indiscretion. Nothing more, nothing less. So my view is that the government will investigate and then take appropriate decision on that. But having said this, let us look at, I have looked at certain things that ran through this type of gesture or action. And one is the fact that you can see what voluntary public apology. Once you do that, you are telling, it shows remorse. You have to show remorse, and it's in there. There is also the fact that you have weighed your actions, and for that matter, you want to assure the public that there will not be a repeat of such action. And it's a fine thing in politics that once you realize that you have gone wrong, you on your own volition comes out to say something that you are wrong. That is in line with governance processes and governance issues. Another issue that I can look or find in this area is the issue of hypocrisy in Ghanaian politics. I am not saying this to defend Sammy Gyamfi or whoever, no. But the hypocrisy here is that if you look at, people giving gift to their followers, to your party people, look, all political parties and politicians, they are all guilty in this country. I will not say all, but I can tell you a lot of them because, look, they give monetary favors to people. They give material, a whole lot during campaign, during whatever. You will see their people following them. We have MPs who complain that their constituents besiege them in their offices, take money from them to go and pay for ABC and all that. Have we, as a society, commented on that? We have seen people who are arguing that, Sammy should have given the money in private. That would have passed. You ask yourself whether in private, if it is not okay in public, in private, will it be okay? You see the hypocrisy in here. What I also see in this matter is conflict between socialization and ethics. We have been socialized as a society that give to the needy, support, give a helping hand. What you receive, give a little to people. When we do this, we are also caught in ethics of our profession. That, hey, you don't need to do this. You don't need to do that. Then, for me, there is a danger ahead of us in the future as to whether people can help people in need. Needy people, can public officers help them? Sometimes you see on television sets, people who are struggling. He's going through medical cases, you're supposed to go through a certain test, a certain, process,
right,
and people have to come into their aid. Are we going to help them? Who is going to donate? Is it a public officer? Can the public officer come here? Even funerals, all right? If a public officer goes to work, donate at your funeral, what would that be? How can people see it? There are a lot of big questions we need to answer. And then, of course, social pressure, where people put pressure on politicians. They go and sit in the office. They demand things. If you don't give us, we are going to vote against you. We are not foot soldiers. Threaten you. And people even criticize from your own party that you came to office, you never supported foot soldiers. And we need to support them.
Doc, so for the sake of time, you make very, important points, crucial points, in fact. But I'd like you to land so that we can take Dr.
Yeah, I'll land in 1 minute. Then the issue of the code comes in. If you read the code, it doesn't talk. It's silent on what? A giver of a gift, but the recipient. All right. What happens to, right? Who gives? And the person even who receives, and then put pressure on you and all that. There are a lot of big compensation around this. But if you look at all these things in the light of societal demands and all that, I would urge people to reflect on the fact that as a Ghanaian society, giving gift, accepting gift, is it wrong or is it not? If there is a way we have to look at it, let's look at it. But I will end my, issue with 2 verses from Gramps Morgan. He wrote with the title, People Like You. Is that if you give a little more than you take, and if you try to fix more than you break, if you are the kind who take the time to help a stranger in the rain, there is a place for people like you. If you stand up for those down on their knees and lend a voice to those who cannot speak, if you shine a little light, give sight to the one who has lost their way, there is a place for you. Is there a place for people who want to be kind to their fellow men in Ghanaian politics, despite the fact that they are politicians? Food for thought.
Thank you. Dr. Mohammed, I would encourage that you spend a little less time on that so that we can proceed with the main discussions. Please go ahead.
Okay, so the simple question I wanted to ask is that, is there any way that when the president travels, we don't have to swear in another person because they had already taken their oath of office? If you look at the speaker, if you look at the Chief Justice, all of them have taken their oath of office. Or is it that you always have to take a presidential oath of office to be able to step in as a president? That is a question that I want our lawyers to answer. Now, clearly, if you look at just a brief on Sammy Gyamfi's issue, the gift was not in Ghana cedis. The gift was in the United States dollars. That is what a lot of people may have concerns about. I think that if he had slotted in few cedis to the lady, they wouldn't have had any bigger issue. And the point that the code of ethics is silent on the giver, and it is focusing on the receiver, I think that a code of conduct should be a code of conduct for all. Whether you are a giver or a receiver, you should be able to cover it. So if there is a need to amend the code of conduct to be able to cover some of these things, we have to do that in earnest. That is going to help to resolve most of the cases. I know that the issue is a very contentious issue, but I do believe that he erred and he has apologized. But that notwithstanding, I think that there should still be an investigative body to investigate why he had such an amount of dollars in his car. That is very, very important, and we have to do that. We don't have to take that lightly. Now, my point for the day is about the maintenance on our roads. I shared a video with your producer. I don't know whether he is able to play that. If you look at the stretch from Achimota to Okwasi, the road is being torn off. Portions of it, you realize that the concrete is falling and the iron rocks are exposed and people are stealing the iron rocks. And this means that it is very, very important that we begin to maintain our roads. That road was just constructed between 2009 and 2020, what do you call it? Yeah, 2009 to 2012 or 2013. I believe that we need to take actions on that. Yesterday, I happened to send out to two very important people in this country, and I told them that they should share with the road minister. And I believe that these two important people are people that even one of them can even instruct the road minister, and they should be able to fix some of these problems. And you see, we cannot, if we are not able to maintain simple things on our roads, how can we continue to construct new roads when we cannot maintain the old ones? So I want to call that the finance minister should be able to budget 40% of the budget that should be coming from budgeting for roads and highways in this country should be for maintenance of our roads, and the 60% can be used for new roads. We should be able to maintain our old roads. It's very, very important. These are all death traps that you can even see on the screen. Can you imagine if another car comes to crash on this? What is going to happen? So we have to begin to think and do the right thing as a country.
Thank you, gentlemen, for those thoughts. Since we will not be coming back to the subject of any impeachment, I just wanted to quickly get to these things. I feel that it may be time we had some sort of second look at our constitution on these matters so we prevent petty squabbles. There is no full separation of powers in this country. It may not exist in many places, but especially where you have parliamentarians becoming members of the executive via the route of becoming ministers, it's highly problematic. But just specifically, Amanda Clinton and I have had some interactions. She's put something together. If you also look at the constitutional requirements, Article 69 of our Constitution talks about the reasons that could lead to an impeachment of a president: violation of the Constitution, stated misbehavior, inability to perform his functions, among other things. If some may say that Article 68 has been breached, some may say that. But if you look at it, this may be very constitutionally possible, but politically improbable, like with the numbers that I mentioned. NDC with 183 out of the 276 votes, MPP 88, Independents 4, with Ablekuma North outstanding. Politically, if you look at it, even with a speaker from, the NDC stock, it's highly improbable. Moving beyond that, what we should look at is whether we need to take a second look at our constitution on this matter. Simple. Sweetie, let's get into the papers.
Yes, let's start with the Ghanaian publisher. On the front page, SML marks 5 years of downstream operations, rolls out upstream and minerals audit platform. In Sawam MCE, confirmation is a farce, according to Anodompré. Dr. Nick Danso picks Trade Industry Award, and spy chief threatens to reveal state secrets, according to his lawyer, Samuel Atachiam. Actually, a warning. I'll go through 4 main stories in the newspaper, and then I'll come to you, gentlemen, quickly. So I'll start from SML. Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited is marking 5 years of operations in the petroleum downstream sector, with an expansion of its revenue assurance mandate into Ghana's upstream petroleum and solid mineral sector, building on a record of accomplishment of digitizing fuel audits and plugging revenue leakages in the downstream petroleum industry. Second story, spy chief threatens to reveal state secrets, according to Samuel Atachiam. Now, lawyer for embattled former Director General of the National Signals Bureau, Mr. Kwabena Dubois, has served notice that their client may be compelled to reveal sensitive national security information in order to mount a full defense in his ongoing trial. Quote, "They are pushing him into areas concerning national security, and when push comes to shove, he has to defend himself." The third story I want to look at, grounding the Kotoka clause, why swearing in an acting president for travel is a constitutional folly. And this is according to Kwekwaza. And because we've touched briefly on this, I just want to skip this and go to the back page Okay, so there's a story here about a commendable step towards lasting peace in Boko. And the recent development in the long-standing Boko conflict brings a welcome breath of relief, not only to the residents, but also to the nation as a whole. And Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II has confirmed that his ongoing mediation efforts between the feuding factions, Kusasi and Mamprusi, have resulted in a period of relative calm, a significant achievement in a dispute that has claimed lives. I'll pause here and just add this headline: Minority accuses Mahama of violating the Constitution. And also, this is in line with the absence of the President, the Vice President, and the Speaker of Parliament, which leaves us in the hands of the acting Chief Justice. Gentlemen, over to you. And that's all I'll do from the Ghanaian Publisher. Let me start with you, Dr. Mohammed.
Okay, Sweetie, the SML, I think, looking at their operations, significantly, they've done very well. Plugging in revenue leakages is very important to show up the revenue mobilization of the country. And you all know, we just spoke about rules and other things. You cannot develop them without having revenue. But what I want to call on them is that, you know, we need more expertise to be able to fish out what is a quantum of oil, or what is a quantum of oil that is being extracted in our upstream industry. That is very important. Technically, we have not been able to quantify it very well because we don't have the expertise to be able to do so. So if SML, what they call it, platform, would be able to guide us to be able to get the right quantity, then it means that we can get the right share of the oil that we truly deserve. So for instance, if you look at our royalties, the royalties are calculated on the base of the kind. That is, it means that whatever you have produced, the quantity that you have produced, a percentage of it is calculated as royalty, and it is given to the state. So if you are not able to properly quantify that and know that this is the true value of what we have produced, it means that we are not going to have the true value of our share. So we have to begin to work on that. And secondly, our participating interest is calculated based on how much quantity is being produced. So if you don't have the expertise to be able to drive on that and get the total amount, how do you calculate our participating interest on that? And also, the taxes that we are going to be receiving is going to be based on their net earnings. We call it rent, the difference between their cost of production and how much they sell the product. We call it oil rent. So the rent that we are going to be receiving is going to be less. And studies have shown that across the world, the international oil companies take close to 73% of the total, 77% of the total amount of revenue that is generated from oil resources. And only 23% goes to the nation that owns it, especially if you practice the production sharing agreement. So I do believe that we need to work very hard to be able to work on this.
All right.
This is why I did my PhD. My PhD was in oil and gas. So I'm very much familiar with some of these issues. Now, to the issue of the Boko crisis, I know that Asantehene is making a significant progress on that. And I remember recently the IGP and his entourage, that was last Friday, visited Asantehene.
Yeah.
And Asantehene briefed them on this particular issue. And I think that progress is being made. The same spirit that was used in Dagban to be used over there so that we can find an amicable solution on that. In the case of Dagban, it was just one family fighting. But in the case of Boku, there are two separate families fighting. There are two separate tribes fighting.
Yeah.
But all of us are coming from the Muli Dagbani, what they call a client or tradition. I do believe that if we sit down and settle our matters well, we will find amicable solution to this, and peace will return in the area. Yeah. And you know, Boku is a very important business district. And the people, I mean, if they move away, it's going to be a significant loss of revenue to the country. So we all need a right and a responsibility to be able to ensure that we have a lasting peace over there so that the country can even benefit from the trade-related activities within that enclave.
All right.
Now, finally, on the majority issue, or minority issue of, what do you call it, minority caucus accusing, no, we have already talked about that.
We have,
look
yes.
At
Yes.
Aduboahene case is something that is a serious matter. You know, he occupied a very sensitive position.
True.
And national security is a very serious matter. So I think that we should be able to censor some of the things that he's going to say. It's not everything that he's going to say that should come in public. He can use that to open it as a defense. But the media should not be reporting on some of the sensitive issues because it borders on national security. And if you tackle a nation's installation, national security is like an installation of the country. So if you tackle that installation, you have destroyed the whole country. So we have to be mindful about some of the comments that come out. But that notwithstanding, we should also be interested in getting out the required information. There is a way to be able to do that. There is something called Nash equilibrium in economics. You have to be able to establish a Nash equilibrium between the state and that of, and that of Aduboahene, in a sense that you meet Aduboahene interests and you similarly meet the state interest as well. So let's have a Nash equilibrium. Let's use the game theory and have a better outcome as a result of it.
Thank you, Dr. Jabri Mohammed. But if he's under oath and he says these things, if they come out, you know, Ghanaians in the media, we will talk about it. So it's about how and where he gives these testimonies, I guess, is what where the detail will be. But
so that is why I said that we have to reach a Nash equilibrium in a sense that he benefits and the state also benefits.
Yeah.
If we allow certain sensitive information to come out and you, the media, come and report it and everybody talks about it, you have just exposed your anus in the general public.
All right.
The whole world. And we
right.
don't want to do that as a country.
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, your take now.
Yeah, SML, good work. They've worked very hard. I hope and pray that they will continue to do a good job, and that for me, all that I'm looking forward to is that we get the right revenue and jobs are created for our people. But there are a large army of youth who are parading our street without jobs, and it's a threat to our security.
Yeah.
If they get jobs, the country get resources, we are good to go.
All right.
2, issue of Boku. Yes, I am a peace lover, and I always want to preach peace. If you read our constitution, the preamble, it said we are prepared to live in peace with our neighbors. Even the constitution, we are saying neighbors. So here, about ourselves, we are prepared to live in peace. So whatever there is that the factions need to do, or the groups, let me say, the groups need to do, I'm sure before Asantehene, all will come to an end so that Boko will come up again, and then Boko will be able to contribute its quota to the development of this country. I think that is all I can say.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. You didn't want to say anything on the spy chief, Aduboahene, and the threats to reveal national secrets if push comes to shove?
I think you and Ben, you know my position. When cases are before court, I leave it at that appropriate forum for it to be dealt with. So let me leave it to it, the appropriate forum. Yeah.
Over to you, Ben.
Well, let me start with these comments coming through from Reverend Latte, also a doyen of the law. He says, good morning. Any plan or intention to impeach the president or the speaker for their absence will be an act of futility. Albeit, in my view, it is reasonable for the president to issue an apology. So I think we're on the same page there. I feel the gentlemanly thing would be to, look, I didn't mean this, and to apologize. But an impeachment, it's clear it will not, at least per the parliamentary situation, not happen. And whether the threshold can be met is another case, just as we talk of the CJ's case. He also says, please tell me what happened to the investigation into the violent disruption of the vetting of nominees. Do you remember? Do you remember that? Yeah. Recently, it's interesting because I was thinking of saying that, okay, so did things just die off? We're talking about Sammy Gyamfi now. We'll delve into the issues, but in the end, we would expect that government, after his meeting with the chief of staff, there would be some resolution, right? So I asked myself about other things too that may have happened, like this one. Where do we go from there? Do we get to hear Afinyo Markin and the police officer? Will there be any conclusion? You see how stories die in this country. It just starts and then it's dead. And he says, what happened to those who incited and perpetrated violence. Those who were saying, Muntutu, Muntutu, Muntutu. It's interesting in this country. Anyway.
And Ben, let me even remind you of something. What happens to the soldiers who besiege Parliament?
Yes.
What happened to that?
Yes.
What happened to that? And you see, one of the problems, I'll blame it on ourselves. When I say ourselves, media people. Because if you read the Media Foundation over the years, they were writing stories about the performance of the media. And one of the things that they flagged over the years was that journalists were not following up stories. Yes, if we are following up stories, once a while, we bring this thing up and let people do. I will take you back. What about the censure motion? What happened? What happened? The censure motion. Ufurata censure motion. What happened to it? And we don't follow stories. So I will urge my colleagues that follow stories, because it's one way that we can bring some of these things back to life.
Doc, I used to host a program called Total Recall many years ago. I think another problem is that if, as a journalist, you do a story over and over and over and over, and the powers that be, it is clear they will not take any action on them, and you cannot take the action. At some point, some fatigue sets in. Ahmed Hussein Swale. How many times have we spoken about it? Latif Idrisu, my colleague, and his assault by, police officers. Now I hear the AG is saying there was no such situation. It wasn't as characterized and all of that. That matter is still, as far as I know, in court. Do you remember the Central Medical Stores? A long time ago, that fire, and then people, whether it was arson, and all these issues have been there. For how long did we speak about them? So at some point, it just becomes, almost so frustrating that...
No, I agree with you.
Central Medical Stores, how many years was that?
Yeah, what we can also do out of this is, as journalists, we force it down the throat of politicians who want power, and it becomes part and parcel of their manifesto. You saw as Mahama took these investigations into consideration, you see the results, Ahmed Swale and co. So sometimes that's one way. We push it down their throat when they are looking for power. They are desperately looking for power, and things of this nature, they want to swallow it.
I see.
So,
Dr. Mohammed,
I agree with you.
Okay, do you have any thoughts on this, or should I go on?
Yes, I also think that some time back, I was telling Bernard Avlo, they had a program in University of Ghana. I told them that, look, it's like you organize some of these programs, at the end of the day, nothing comes out of it. So why don't you have a way to compile most of the most revealing stories into a document, just like our former lecturer said, and make it as a form of proposal to political parties to adopt it and incorporate it into their manifesto. So if you know that this is a very touching and revealing story, you compile all of them. All the Media Foundation can do that. They can use all media houses' information, find out the most important stories that are reported by almost everybody. These days, you can even use AI, data science, to be able to compile some of this information. So when you have it as a form of a book. Then these are the stories, and this is what is reported, and this is what has been followed up. This is the outcome of it. And this is where the case has gotten to. Then when you submit it, then this information can be taken, and proper outcome can be generated out of it. But if you just report it and we leave it like that, I mean, even some of the cases that they report, they are very, very funny. You read some of them, it's full of errors. A lot of problems with some of the reportage. Sometimes I read some news items, what I want to get out of it, I'm not able to get anything sensible. So I think even your people that you train, I remember some time back, we were training financial journalists. I think it was Bloomberg that was doing that program.
True.
University of Ghana Business School was doing that.
Yeah.
I remember some of you might have benefited out of it.
Yeah.
So we need to be able to you also need the training so that you can report and report appropriately.
All right.
Yeah, some of the things, honestly speaking, it doesn't wash water.
And when you mentioned report, it just quickly brought to mind Professor Frimpong Boateng's report on Galamsey, one of the foremost problems we are facing in this country for 2 years,
yes,
until it was leaked. Do you see how bad the situation is. So sometimes you can say, oh yeah, let's get it to the powers that be. But it was sitting on a desk for 2 years, no action until it was leaked. And we, the media, spoke about it. So, but I do agree that we must do more. We still have more responsibility. There's more we can also do. There's more you academics can also do. There's more all of us can do to ensure that these matters are dealt with. Let me get into the Daily Graphic newspaper now. GUTA endorses GSA measurement enforcement. Professor Amayao Ekumfi, former GIF CEO, let me put it that way, charged over $2 million SkyTrain project. COPEC lauds SML's revenue assurance model. Police update on Galamsey fight, 99 excavators seized, 208 arrested. On the back page, Pecan Energy's partners give scholarships to Ghanaian students. And Tetekwashi Hospital gets 5.8 million Ghana City dialysis center to tackle kidney disease. That definitely is a plus. But let's get into some of the stories. So the police have arrested 208 suspects in connection with illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey, in a series of operations in some Galamsey endemic areas that started in March this year. The police have so far retrieved 99 excavators, 3 bulldozers, 4 pump action guns, 3 single-barreled guns, and a pistol in the special operations, also undertaken in several regional police commands, a highly placed police source has said. However, when I talk about all of these and the gains that we are making, I must also add, you remember that assault on a forestry commission office, I believe, somewhere in the Ashanti region, where some people attempted taking certain excavators, and then there was a call for them to return the excavators. We hear that in recent times there has been another attempt. I think there should be a tightening of the system because we can't keep going back and forth like this. Let me also add, exam malpractice, national security threat. And the West African Examinations Council has expressed deep concern over coordinated cheating schemes. Underline, coordinated cheating schemes, some reportedly involving entire schools in premeditated examination malpractice, saying the menace is becoming a national security threat. The council said such unethical acts, often facilitated by students, school authorities, and even trusted stakeholders, posed a serious threat to the credibility and integrity of the examination process. I want to pause there. Both of you are academics. You lecture, you give exams, there's AI and everything. What are your reflections on these? What are the challenges? I'll start with you, Dr. Mohammed. I think we should start from your end.
Yeah, for the exam of practice first, right?
Yes, you can deal with that and then talk Galamsey.
Okay, these days it's very funny. The last time I was marking some scripts in economics, if you look at some of the things that some of the students were writing, they're just too funny. You ask them about depression in economics. Then you say depression is when you are not feeling well. You are depressed. So you see some
economic depression, and that's what they were writing? Is that what you're saying?
That's what they were writing, level 200. You can imagine that. And this is the person who is coming out to be to be working in Ghana.
Yeah.
That will be depressing.
Yes. So you just notice that these days children, they are not studying anything. Even when you hand over everything to their throats, they will still want the easy way out. So now the best thing they do is that they go to the exam hall with their phones. And whatever they type in with the AI, whatever comes out is what they write. And I think that it is time we have to step in a lot of actions. In University of Ghana, when you bring your phone in, we get you, we arrest you. The invigilators will take you on. You will have to fill a form and go through a disciplinary action. And sometimes your entire, degree can be withdrawn. So I think that the West Africa Examination Council and even the schools, they have to be honest. There are so many schools that are now even teaching all their students everything. They get the good grades, they come to the university, they cannot do anything. And I think it is now time for us to begin to put in additional measures to be sure that whatever people who are coming to the university are properly qualified.
Right.
In the past, they used to write entrance examination before they even come in. I think that it is time to bring that back so that we can censor the kind of people who even come to the universities. So West Africa Examination Council is a good call, and I think that we need to push that and push it well. Now, on the issue of the excavators.
Gentlemen, briefly for me, so that we can maximize the rest of the time. Briefly.
Very brief. Gone are the days. They used to, the past government, seized about 300 and something excavators, or even 400 and something. Some of them vanished in no time. So this time around, let's put in the appropriate measures so that those excavators that have been seized, we can distribute them to the district assemblies. They can use them to pave the roads that are very bad. So let's do that.
All right.
And that's all what I have to say on that.
Dr. Asai Asante, you can imagine, if cheating becomes the norm, which it has become, and these people become leaders, the sort of contracts they will sign and the agreements they will enter our country into. I mean, it's something to watch, isn't it? Your thoughts?
Yes. You see, when you look at this problem, it has been with us since time immemorial. But I must be fair here to say that the state, WAEC themselves, they've tried to improve upon it. But we still have the problem lingers on. It tells us that there's more to do. Before, you hear examination malpractice and you hear WAEC officials themselves, some were caught in that web. We have seen what saddens me. Now you are seeing what the stakeholders, they be in, some of them, parents, guardians, they go out to buy questions. Where they get the questions, nobody knows. They buy questions and all that. You have now people resorting to the use of what? AI and all that. Once those, technology will always be around with us. But once technology comes in, we as teachers must also up our game. That yes, you may have a device, but I'll put the question in such a way that your device will not help you. I do MCQ on some of my examination, and it's off site. Students will congregate, look at it and write, and people score 0. They are so surprised because the questions are practical questions, and I'm sure Ben and then Jibril, you yourself will attest to that. Yes, you can't find it anywhere. So we need to up our game as teachers, examiners, set questions that will stand the test of time and also tighten the whole process. I like my school, UJ. For examination malpractice, you can dream about it, but it won't happen because we will catch you. We will catch you. So WAEC should be able, and the stakeholder, to make sure that things work. Then I am happy about a story about Tetteh Quarshie Hospital, that's my constituency, right? And we are getting dialysis equipment. Yes, it's going to help us, but that doesn't mean that we should also be careless in our lives, our health conditions. We need to do what we need to do. But in event that we are affected one way or the other by some of these illnesses, then we can go there for relief. But I will urge the hospital authorities. One of the things that affect health delivery in this country is that we are not able to maintain equipment that are given to us. I'm not saying that is the case for Tetteh Quarshie Hospital, but I'm saying that it's a general thing. So they can bring this thing on board and then make sure that we have value for money. Galamsey and fight and the police update is good, but we need to do more. Let's get all the basics right so that we can deal with Galamsey once and for all.
Let me quickly wrap with the following stories. I'll spend very little time on them, but there's a quote like the Daily Graphic will give you. This time it's on page 18. Carly Fiorina is former CEO of Hewlett-Packard, and she says, I think leadership of any kind requires trust and transparency, and voters should demand no less from their political leadership in government. I will repeat. I think leadership of any kind requires trust and transparency, and voters should demand no less from their political leadership in government. In politics, 4 more MCE nominees in Greater Accra confirmed the president's first 120 days. There are some thoughts there shared by Dr. John Osai Kwapong, who is a regular here. He talks about the 24-hour economy and more. Let's simplify work permit for work permit procedures for job migrants, Labour Minister says to ECOWAS. National consultation begins on Abidjan Lagos corridor project. Trump, Bin Salman hold talks in Saudi Arabia. We know what's going on there. Over 50 Pakistanis killed in clash with India. And what I'll just read a little bit of an end. It's an opinion piece on page 10. Living with lupus, battle fought in silence. It's a story of survival. I have known one or two people, in fact more, who have suffered this. And a good friend is currently battling it. If you've never heard of lupus, check it out. It can affect multiple organs, including the joints, kidneys, heart, lungs, skin, and nervous system. Basically, your body fighting against your body, immunity. And we need more systems in this country to deal with some such situations. That's how I'll wrap. If there are any thoughts, they have to be very brief, and Sweetie will continue with the rest of the papers. Gentlemen, any thoughts, briefly?
Trust and transparency, critical components in good governance. I will urge the citizenry to make sure that people that we give power to want to ensure.
Okay,
all right, thank you.
Let me end this segment with the Accra Times newspaper. I will just read out the headlines, and then when I'm done, you can reflect on one main story that piques your interest. But I'll end on an interesting story, a journalist who dies at 102. So on the front page of the Accra Times, bribery allegations against Defense and Interior Committee. Agalga debunks Edubuahen's claim. Minority wants Sami Jemfi's head. Funeral of Francis Asiana, father of Paul Afoko, slated for May 17th. NPA boss to crack the whip on non-compliant oil marketing companies. And this is from the Memphis Central DC saying that he salutes his MP. Let me get into the paper proper and see what other headlines I can add to that. I have taken Mohammed's Code of Conduct as a Bible, Edujita Maklu says. Government to establish University of Agriculture and Life Sciences in Kintampo, according to the Minister of Education, Haruna Idrisu. Father jailed 10 years for impregnating 15-year-old daughter. Oh, my God. Again? Oh, okay. It's the same story from yesterday. And I remember saying that, and I repeat, if you or if anyone out there knows the whereabouts of this young girl, please reach out to me, reach out to Girl Get Up Africa. We want to help her, give her psychological support. And anyhow we can help her, please reach out to me across all social media platforms, Sweetie Abochi or Girl Get Up Africa. We really want to get in touch with this girl. And those will be it. So here's the story. I was reading a bit of it and I found it interesting. Salongo John Jones Sewanga, who is believed to be Uganda's oldest journalist, has passed on at age 102. And it's an interesting story. I can't get into the details because of time. But gentlemen, pick one main story that piques your interest and give us your reflections. Dr. Kwame Asante, you first.
University of Agric, good tidings, but the people we train, let us support them so that when they come, they will be able to live up to expectation. Let us develop Agric to the highest, add value to the things that we have here so that Agric becomes what? Meaningful. Otherwise, all universities can be set up, but it will amount to nothing.
All right. And Dr. Mohammed, when you said these days children, I did a quick translation in my mind and immediately I got offended. I said, Egbavio, that's how my mom used to insult me. Egbavio, like these days children, every time you want to do something, they say, these days children, but I forget I'm old now. I'm no longer Kwalamaba. Please, your reflections for us.
I think I also want to look at the University of Life and Natural Sciences.
Right.
I think it's a good call. It is time for us to give more weight to agriculture, even though we have it in silos in most universities. Now, if you look at the enclave over there in the Bono East region, a significant number of the people are farmers. And I think that it is now time for us to be able to bring life to their farming activities and to make sure that livestock are very important. Can you imagine how much protein we import? We import a lot of chicken from outside.
Yeah.
A lot of millions of dollars are sunk into it. So if you are able to come out with good livestock, can you imagine how much money we can save as a country? So that university from the education minister is a good call. He said that he's going to table the bill before Parliament very soon. And I'm looking forward to see that bill. And I commend him for that.
All right. Let me just get these out. Zelensky says he is ready to meet Putin for direct talks in Turkey. Pope affirms support for press freedom in first news conference. Mahama calls for common African position ahead of 2025 G20 summit. And that will be all. In showbiz, musical talents display sterling performances at Adam Fopa Talent Quest. 2025 TGMA, Ayisi wins Record of the Year. That's one of my favorite artists, Ayisi. Congratulations to him and King Paluta. It's never too late to celebrate y'all. Thank you all so much.
Well, in terms of that arrangement in Turkey between Ukraine and Russia, Zelensky is actually insisting that this time, if Putin himself is not showing up in Turkey, he's not showing up either. So no representatives, come, let's do this face to face. And that's what he is sharing there. Let me just do this very quickly. A happy birthday to one of the finest of the family, Mama Daswa II, Queen Mother of Jelukope, and a member of the Anglon Duko Traditional Council. May you soar high and see beautiful things in the coming year. With love from Mamavi Sefako Tay. Enjoy your era with love. And that's the message from Mamavi Sefako Tay to Mama Daswa II, Queen Mother of Jelukope.
Gentlemen, final take, and we will pop off. Dr. Kwame Asasan, to you first.
The issue about MCs and all that, I believe that whatever happens, we need our MC, DCs and all that to do the work. But when they go there, they should remember that politics emanate from the grassroots and that they should serve the people with all their best. And at the end of the day, our democracy will be better off.
Thank you. Dr. Mohammed, final word.
Okay. Trust and transparency is good for everyone, not just only the governance sector. I believe that each and every one of us has to be trustworthy, and we have to be transparent in our daily activities and our dealings. If you're able to do so, we will have a good country to live in.
Well, those who joined the conversation, Dr. Kwame Asasan-Asante, head of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. He's a political scientist. We had Dr. Jabir Mohammed. He's a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. Sweetie, we used to have this thing with our sports people. It just brought to mind. What do you think about arm wrestling?
Oh, I think I'll win over you hands down. I have very strong arms.
You think you could beat
me? These arms. Have you seen these arms?
They look like something I will not mention on air. But do stick and stay. Sports is up next. Someday, if you want to duel, we'll do it right here in the middle.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to AM Sports. Here with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullah. The Minister of Sports and Recreation, Kofi Idi Adams, has revealed that the sector is close to setting up a sports fund that will ensure that there's a dedicated source of funds for the development of sports in the country. Speaking during a meeting with the Ghana Olympic Committee on Tuesday, he said that the spiritual good wishes that is often handed to athletes has not inured to the benefits of this country, and that it's about time there's a dedicated source of funds to help athletes prepare for major competitions.
The ministry have engaged with many of you on the matter of a sports fund, and we are inching close to getting that really done. And I believe that when it is done, it will reduce some of the situations where we only give you spiritual support and spiritual backing without the necessary financial backing. We can then move. We back you spiritually and we back you with what it takes to participate. And again, sports, you can't say today I don't have money, so I'm not going. and that it is tomorrow or tomorrow next that I will get money. By the time you get your money, the competition is over and everybody is gone. So we must always look for the money to be able to, because you alone cannot organize your competition. You have to compete with others. And so when the time comes, we would want everybody, the media, those of us in leadership, those who love the sports, to get involved. For all of us to mobilize and have a fund that can support the young ones especially. For me, we are in the period of talent and giving talents opportunities to grow. So I'm very grateful for this visit. Ghana has seen quite a lot of activities. We haven't won many medals at the Olympic levels, but we haven't also done badly. And so when we work together, I believe that something can happen. Who knows?
The president of the Ghana Olympic Committee has eulogized the quartet of Barnabas Sage, Joseph Paul Amoah Bokwene and Ibrahim Fuseni for securing a ticket to the World Athletics Championships that will be happening later this year in Tokyo. According to him, the athletes to be part of the 14 countries that secured qualification automatically clearly shows that Ghana has got the talent to be able to compete against the best in the world.
And we are working with all the federations for such competitions, because for these top competitions, look, the whole world, how many countries do we have in the world? And they are one of the 14 that have qualified. And that's huge. Sometimes because we don't get a medal, they think now it's not important, but it's huge. And I think, first of all, we need to congratulate the athletes for their work, for the hard work and their commitment, and also for the Ghana Athletics for their consistency, because for the last so many years, they've been consistent in supporting these athletes to ensure that they always go for these relays and qualify for major tournaments. So this is what I've been talking about, planning. If we plan well, we know what we need to do. Right now, it's obvious that these athletes for the 4x100 are athletes that we should invest in for the next 4 years, because their performance shows, their track record is there. So they shouldn't have any problem with training. We should have a budget for them in terms of their training, in terms of medical support, in terms of coaching support, competition support. So if there's any competition they have to attend, they shouldn't have a problem. That's what I've been talking about, and that's what we want to do. So hopefully, if we finish our engagement, we'll have a plan in place with some funding in place to ensure that if they are going for the World Championships, they don't have a problem. If they have to do some camping, they don't have a problem. So it's important that we talk more and see how we can work together.
But what will be your expectation of the athletes, though, at the World Championships? World Athletics?
The 4x100 is the trickiest race you can ever think about. I mean, obviously, the favorites are the US, the Jamaica, but every major competition, somebody drops a baton. So what you can do is try and get to the final first. That's the important thing. Once you get to the final, anything can happen. So for me, look, even if they get to the final and they don't win a medal, I think they would have achieved something. Because if the whole world, they are among the top 8 in the world, I think it's something we should be proud of. Gradually, if they work like this from the World Championships and it continues by the Olympics, they will hopefully improve and hope for better things.
To some football now, where Brecum Chelsea, 5 people or 5 technical team members and footballers. So the head coach, Samuel Boadu, 4 other players, Stephen Amankona, Mezek Afriye, they are all part of people who have been sanctioned by the Ghana Football Association for what the GFA described as misconduct during the FA Cup semi-final tie against Kumasi Asante Kotoko. My colleague, Zach Musbawa, has been going through the statements released by the football governing body and has details in this report.
Brecum Chelsea head coach Samuel Boadu has been officially charged by the Ghana Football Association for misconduct following his side's FA Cup semi-final match against Asante Kotoko, which took place at the Takwa TNS Stadium. The GFA, in a statement released on Monday, revealed that the former Hearts of Oak manager had violated Article 1, Clause I of the GFA Disciplinary Code 2019 and Article 34, Clause 6D of the Ghana Premier League Regulations 2019. The charges are in relation to his alleged behavior toward match officials after the final whistle. According to the Ghana Football Association, it is alleged that after the match, Coach Wedu approached the referees in an aggressive, angry and fierce manner, using inappropriate gestures which constitute misconduct that brings the game into disrepute. The incident reportedly occurred in the immediate aftermath of the game as tensions flared over concerns about some of the refereeing decisions. His conduct, according to the FA, is considered contrary to the principles of sportsmanship, respect for match officials and the integrity of the game. The Ghana Football Association further noted that such behavior undermines the efforts to promote discipline and decorum in Ghana football. Samwedu has been given until Thursday, May 15, 2025 to respond to the charges. If found guilty, Samwedu could face penalties ranging from a fine to a touchline ban or even a suspension from all football-related activities. Meanwhile, players Mizake Frie, Stephen Amankona, Zakaria Fuseni and Seidu Mohammed have all also been cited for breaching Article 12, Clause 1I of the GFA Disciplinary Code and Article 34, Clause 6D of the Ghana Premier League Regulations. According to the GFA regulatory update, the players are alleged to have confronted match officials in a manner that undermines the integrity of the game. The players have also been given until Thursday, May 15, 2025, to respond to the charges.
Well, the players will respond to the charges by the Ghana Football Association tomorrow, Thursday. However, one player, he has already responded to his charges and has been fined by the Ghana Football Association for a celebration during a Ghana Premier League match against Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And that player is Emmanuel Ano. Let's take a look at how he celebrated. So he celebrated after scoring against Kumasi Asante Kotoko and displayed that I belong to Jesus. While the Ghana Football Association responded with a statement charging the player. And the statement says that it is not acceptable for you to display religious emblems or whatever during footballing activities. Let's take a look at the statement the Ghana Football Association released on Tuesday, and it states that Nations FC player Emmanuel Ano has been fined 500 Ghana cedi by the disciplinary committee for misconduct during the Ghana Premier League match against Kumasi Asante Kotoko. The player was found guilty of displaying a religious message on his undergarment after removing his shirt in celebration. He has also been strongly warned that any further misconduct will result in severe sanctions. Well, the boy has refused to hold back, and he's responded to the Ghana Football Association, taking to his X account, formerly Twitter, and questioned, if footballers can celebrate LGBTQ+, why can't same be done for Christ? He quizzed the Ghana FA, and in fact, he went further to say that in Romans chapter 14, verses 8, it states that if we live for the Lord, and if we die for the Lord. So whether you live or you die, you belong to the Lord. And he goes further to say that it is the kingdom's word that is displaying the magic on the pitch. That's what the player has responded. That the Ghana Football Association is yet to actually tell us whether there will be a reaction to that statement from the player or not. But the regulations governing football worldwide is that it's not acceptable for you to display any religious message, tribal message, during a football match. That's what the regulation says. But it appears many people in this jurisdiction do not have a proper appreciation of the FIFA regulations. Hence, they might find some of these things innocuous. However, they are against the rules governing football worldwide. Now, let's move on and bring you other stories. And to the camp of Manchester United, where their manager, Ruben Amorim, says that he feels disappointed with the performance of Manchester United this season.
It seems like I'm pushing all to the players. I'm the responsible, and I'm really. It's hard to find another word. I'm really embarrassed of, in 26 games, win 6, and something is wrong in the way we are playing football, and sometimes it's not about the way we play tactically and technically. It's the way we face competition and the way we suffer and the way we get mad because we are losing and the way we protect the goal. And these things we need to improve. And sometimes it's not just inside the pitch, it's outside the pitch. But that feeling that I'm talking about, like to fight until the end, the way we face competition, it's not okay to lose. It's not okay to draw. It doesn't matter if we can change our position in the league or not. That feeling is nothing about confidence. It's about the belief and the understanding that we are in Manchester United, and we don't want to be the worst in the league. And our position it's unacceptable. And for me, that is not lack of confidence, it's lack of something more profound. And I talked with the board and with everybody, even with the fans, in every moment. I have a clear feeling that I know what this team needs to be so much better. And that helped me to maintain that level of not go down so much and not so high in some moments.
That is your sports for now. We do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com. And also, effective next week, Monday, AM Sports will be coming your way at 6:30 a.m. We appreciate your company.
Thanks for staying with us. You're still watching the AM show on Joy News. And it's time now for us to bring you AM Business. Now, with iron ore now confirmed in Ghana's Oti region, expectations are high, but so are the planning. While government agency JIDSEC outlines plans to build a sustainable mining ecosystem, local leaders insist that indigents must not be sidelined in the development process. James Ishen is on the beat and brings us more in this report for today's AM Business.
Deep in the heart of Ghana's Oti region, a discovery is turning heads and stirring hope. Iron ore, a key raw material for industrial development, has been found in commercially viable quantities, positioning this rural enclave as Ghana's potential next mining frontier.
But we've come to realize that it's not any problem at all. It's not a galamsey something or this actual mining. And it has not happened anywhere in Ghana. But this is the first time that they are starting. So we are very happy. Know that in every mining area, the miners try to help the community develop it. So we are also looking forward to see some development in the community as soon as they start the mining.
Driven by increasing global demand forecast to rise by 3% annually due to growth in construction and manufacturing, the search for iron ore is being spearheaded by the Ghana Integrated Iron and Steel Development Corporation, JISDEC, and its technical partner, Africa Exploration and Minerals Group. JISDEC is conducting feasibility studies and engaging stakeholders as government eyes a new era of industrialization driven by local mineral wealth. The exploration has focused on the Jamrome area within the Kajebi district since 2020. JISDEC report indicates that oxidized iron ore with iron oxide concentrations as high as 82%, translating to about 57% iron. On average, samples contain 67% iron oxide or approximately 47% iron content. Osaberima Osebones, the fifth paramount chief of the Asato traditional area, expressed support, noting the difference between their structured effort and illegal small-scale mining.
We are very cordial. They respect us, we also respect them. Anything that they will see over there, which is beating their mind, they come to us. We also help them in any way that we can. Yes.
So far, The exploration process has included remote sensing and geophysical surveys. From 54 initially identified targets, AEMG narrowed down 11 key drilling zones. Drilling began in mid-2024 with 8 of the planned 30 drill holes already completed. The full drilling program spans 15 drill lines covering approximately 2,500 meters. Completion is expected by June 2025, followed by a detailed resource estimate by September 2025. Geologist Professor Frank Yame on ESPAT said the prospect for the iron ore industry is positive.
There was an initial geological work, we call mapping. So we walked all these places, and then you look at the rock. So you find this rock here, you put it on the paper, on the map. You find it there, you put on a map. You find it here, put on a map. If you go downslope, you may not see this one there. Is that okay? You may rather see a different type. So once you have marked your zone, then the next thing is, we know it occurs on the surface. Does it occur at depth? Does it occur at depth? So that is the next thing that you do. So this one that we call the drill core or the hole, you put it in there to investigate, to check whether what you are seeing on the surface also occurs at depth. Is that okay? So as for this one, the first hole, they could have done it anywhere. But they chose this point because the rock is just exposed here. Okay. You see it? Which contains iron? Yes, this is the iron-bearing rock. You see, what you saw in the course, this is just the iron-bearing rock. You see? So, with all the features, okay, so the initial work through the bush and everything gave you that. So now you only go in there and then you can decide. They could have put it 100 meters away. 200 meters away, but sometimes for convenience. So we look at where we think it would be good, we make the assets, and then you start. Is that okay? Having known that this thing occurs on the surface, at the end of the drilling, you would also know the depth at which it goes. Is that okay? And then you also know the width. Is that okay? How it stretches in terms of the width. Okay, so based on the surface, this thing, and then the drill hole, you can then estimate the ore body like this, and then you can estimate the volumes. Then you can take samples and analyze, then you will know the chemical composition. Because what occurs on the surface, what shows that the same thing occurs below. If we have iron here of about 60-70%, what shows that at depth is still 60 or 70. You understand? So these things will serve to control. Is that okay? You may get it on the surface, but what if it doesn't occur at depth?
For many in the community, this could be a lifeline, jobs, infrastructure, and long-awaited economic inclusion.
Oh, adwuma de sebi Ghana ban bae no. Na se adwuma bi abe pue wo okuro mu asase mu a. Also mu ne anije. Awa etu because eyempuntu ebe ma wo nkwala nso etimi akọ anim. Yeah.
Na se what say bi mu also aban na se bia nkofo bi mu kwehye nkofo from na oma sese nyoma ne adenti dan na ahotoso be na wenya nti a wo kasa sei na.
Okay.
Ana obia kan bibia kiro.
Debi. Senia mompenifo ba beto nananom a ye ne on trance a ye pese nsemu no mu no. Na kire se on emfo kwan boni bia so bibia on beye no emu beda ho ama ye nyina obia ho ato no. Na ye ekwan ketuwa bi. They say abe ka kwan o. That is a muni hokra ebebura ye.
Government of Ghana sees this as a strategic pillar of its broader plan to diversify Ghana's economy and reduce reliance on imported steel.
It looks fantastic. It looks so great. In fact, we came with technical advisors, and then we met some professionals on the field. All the information they are giving us tell us we have something good to look up to. Something good is coming our way very soon. And then they are comparing it to other areas in the sub-region where they are doing similar exercise. What we have here is quite promising and it's giving us a very good result.
Geological mapping has so far identified 42,000 square meters of fully oxidized ironstone and 36,000 square meters of partially oxidized deposit extending over an 8-kilometer stretch that dips steeply eastward. Fault zone in the rock formations may improve accessibility to the ore. Over 100 rock samples tested by Intertech Laboratory and the University of Ghana confirm high iron content. However, drilling is essential to verify the depth and continuity of the deposit.
The drill goes here to the pocket. So once it gets to the pocket, we go through the usual routine with the orientation and the meter markings and stuff like that. So once we are done with that, and then basically we then move it to the cutting phase. We do what we call the core cutting. We cut, as you can see, into 2 halves. Then once we finish with the cutting, obviously.
With global demand for iron and steel on the rise, Ghana's iron ore potentially could unlock billions in revenue if managed sustainably and transparently.
First of all, gold, diamonds, etc., they have a ready market. Is that okay? And you don't need the volumes, you don't need that much. Okay? You go and bauxite, go and pour one train full of bauxite in Accra. Nobody may want it. But go and pour 1 tipper truck load of gold-bearing ore or rocks containing gold. You see people killing others for it. Is that okay? Scrambling for it. So a lot depends on the nature of the commodity, the price, is that okay, etc., etc. Now, Galamsey iron, if you come here and you take this, what are you going to do with it? Is that okay? To take the iron out is not easy. It goes through a whole lot of processes. So you won't find any use for it. So they wouldn't even come in. The environmental aspect is also very important because, one, ideally, no mining can occur without an impact on the environment. So normally when we are teaching, we talk to the students about that. So nothing, the watch, the wristwatch you are wearing, is that okay? The vehicles, the engines, a lot of the parts of the vehicle, they all come from mining or mine products. Is that okay? I remember at one time in an international conference, people were arguing, some environmentalists, about all this. I said, fine, if that is the case, they should just put off the light for 1 hour and let's see what will happen. The projectors, as I said, the vehicles, the computers, all those things, these cameras, is that okay? Over 70-80% are mined products that are mined from somewhere. So no nation, no society can do without mining, the roofing sheets. Okay? But how responsible do we do that?
From exploration to production, the journey has just begun. But for the people of Oti region, the iron ore beneath their feet may finally forge a future of prosperity. James Eshen's report for Joy Business.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Anita Erskine, and you are warmly welcome to the 2nd edition of the Ghana EU Business Forum.
The oceans have come to a new kind of global gateway.
This gathering is extremely important for the European Union because it's a concrete demonstration of what Global Gateway means in reality. But for us, the Global Gateway strategy is definitely the strategy of the European Union to engage with like-minded partners in building sustainable infrastructure and connectivity around the world.
Today is a proof of love because we are gathering both business from Ghana, businesses from European Union. We want more of Ghana in Europe, and I'm pretty sure that in Ghana, you want more of Europe.
Gateway, we seek to champion smart investment in such strategies as digital, energy, transport, health, and education.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are favored and blessed that you spent your last 2 days with us. We exist to give you whatever it takes in order to make this global gateway investment successful, not only for us, but primarily for you.
Welcome back to the AM show, sponsored by Waylead Properties, providing quality housing at an affordable cost with flexible payment option. And that video is a great introduction to the conversation we're about to have. It's the third edition of the Ghana EU Business Forum. And in studio with me is the EU Ambassador to Ghana, Ishad Razali himself, in the studio. Mr. Ambassador,
one day.
You have my phone? That was very good. Welcome to the AM show.
Thank you very much.
So that was a good introduction, what you did at the second edition of the Ghana EU Business Forum. I remember that was where you launched that 32 million European Union support to vaccine manufacturing and pharma in Ghana. Congratulations. So for the benefit of our audience who are only hearing about this for the first time, what is the EU Ghana Business Forum all about?
This is the opportunity to bring together the European business with the Ghanaian business to move forward towards new projects. Basically, one of the priorities of the European Union shared with Ghana is job creation. Each and every year, we have 400,000 youth who are seeking access to labor market. You have to create the jobs. So job creation to some extent lies on investment. So we want to stimulate more investment from the European actors, companies, and this is a pristine opportunity for them to have a chat with their counterparts. On the other side, we want as well to stimulate the growth, new opportunities for Ghanaian businesses, young entrepreneurs. This is very important. So it's important that they meet on a business to business, what they call B2B type of meeting, to arrange new projects, new investment, new ventures. So this is about it.
Okay, and this is the third time, which means that the first and second one were a success. But what's different this time around? Because I realize it's not every single year, but you're doing it again this year after doing it last year. It must have been something that kicked. What's different this time? It's
exactly that. It's not a regular rendezvous. We wanted it to organize it once again because it was really successful last year. There were a lot of people who wanted to participate who could not because it was fully booked for once. As we all know, there is a new administration and we are very eager as the European Union to listen to their new, I would say, priorities, to the new adjustment that they want to have in the way Ghana interacts with their international partners, because we want to adjust better as well to fit the new priorities and the new methodology. But Team Europe is one of a kind. We are 27 member states plus the European Union institutions, and we want to bring forward the best offer, the best technological offer, the best financial offer, because we care very much. We don't want to increase indebtedness of our partners, which is very important today, especially in Ghana. And we want to create as well the best solution. So you say, we have an issue in covering fresh water for Tamale and Damongo, for example, which is a true challenge. And we are putting forward 300 million euro worth of investment, plus the technology that can address that, for example. So these are the, I would say, concrete example of why the Team Europe, I would say, approach matters.
Okay, and in advancing our bilateral relations, what non-traditional, I know you talked about new, but what non-traditional sectors are you prioritizing this time around under the cooperation?
We are very excited to increase our investment in the field of energy, especially green energy. And now you have a Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, which is a very exciting moment because this creates the opportunity to accelerate, I would say, investment in the field of green transition, green energy, solar panel. We have done that already with our German friends last year. We have commissioned already an existing solar-powered plant utility in the Upper West. We can do more of that because these are new priorities. We want to accelerate as well our support in the field of agribusiness. Agribusiness means job creation, transformation, industrialization, and support for Ghanaian exports. So in one row, you can accelerate and advance the cause of economic diversification. We want as well to invest more in the connectivity. And you have mentioned pharma. Pharma is not a once-off. We have kickstarted with the vaccine facility, which is still under construction, but it's on track. But we want to create and stimulate a whole ecosystem, which will make Ghana a real hub for the continent in terms of vaccine and pharma.
Okay, you mentioned agribusiness and energy. How closely are you working with the various ministries in terms of executing or materializing these goals? Are you working closely with the ministries on green transition and energy?
Exactly. This is a daily interaction because, you know, depending on the technology, we are working with VRA, we are working with NETCO, GRIDCO, and the ministries, not only one ministry, because in the end, you always have energy, finance, and depending on the terrain, local government, for example. So this is my daily. My daily is to meet, interact, listen, understand better what are the needs, what could be the bottlenecks, how we can help, what solution fits better. With agriculture, we are doing irrigation, we are doing dam. Where do you believe these dams should be put? Because we are not specialists. You are the ones understanding, no, this is better in northeast, northwest, any other type of region. In this area, we want to do wheat, we want to do maize, corn, blah, blah, blah. So this is a permanent interaction.
Okay. And this is all part of the EU Global Gateway Strategy to support Ghana's industrialization goals. How far would you say you've come? How much productive are we now in terms of industrialization since we partnered with you? Can you give us some sort of measurement of the progress we are making?
3 years ago, just after I took office, to be fair, the concept of Global Gateway was very difficult to communicate because there were no concrete elements to show. 3 years down the line, we have aligned a number of concrete achievement and realization and, you know, advancement in terms of connectivity, in terms of transformation. It's much easier to communicate. When you visit the works of the vaccine facility, you understand what it is about. The vaccine will be produced here. It will be transformed here. It will be shipped from there. And you can understand that it's covering cattle, kids, people, etc., etc. And you understand that it will be able to support, you know, human development index at the level of a continent. We are speaking about energy. You understand how it looks like. You say, wow, it's massive. And you say, this facility covers the needs of electricity of 50,000 households. This is what we have delivered last year, for example. So we can do much more. We can do much more.
So there is something to show.
Exactly.
And it makes it easier to communicate. I like that. So let's talk about the Ghana EU Business Forum. When is it happening? And you mentioned in the beginning that last year some people wanted to join, but it was overbooked or fully booked. Are you still open? Are you still receiving people who want to come?
Yes. Everyone is welcome. I fear the success is already there. So there's a lot of people who have subscribed already. You can join us and you can check for inscription through our Facebook website. It's very simple. The European Union in Ghana.
Okay.
European Union in Ghana.
Across all social media platforms.
Yes,
European
exactly.
Union in Ghana.
And this is the best way to join us, to check if there's still room, room available for you. If not, because it's not limited to Accra. You are in Kumasi, you are in Tamale, you are in Takoradi, elsewhere. You are welcome to join and connect and follow and contribute live as well. It's very important, very important.
So dates and time.
Dates are the 20th and 21st of May. It's next week. And we are very eager and happy to welcome all of you to join us in this celebration of shared commitment for more trade, more industrialization, more job, more technology. Very simple.
Thank you so much for all that you do. If there's something we've left out or if there's a message you want to give us as we wrap up, this will be the time to do that.
No. Economic transformation, trade, job creation is one key pillar of the EU-Ghana partnership, and we have celebrated recently the overall Ghana-EU partnership forged around economic development, security, and most importantly, investment in the youth. Young entrepreneurs are talented. We are proud of working with them. You should be proud of having such a beautiful and talented crowd out there, and we want to support them.
And congratulations on celebrating EU Day in Ghana. I was there, so I know it was a wonderful ceremony. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, so that is Richard Razali, and he's the European Union Ambassador to Ghana, and they're talking about the Ghana EU Business Forum 2025. Do not miss it. Across all social media platforms, they are European Union in Ghana. Check out their website, check out their pages, and if you have any questions for clarity, they'll be there to sort you out. Before we wrap up this belt of conversations, if you're looking for a home in a prime location, then Nesta's Home has got you covered. Our properties in Tema, Community 26 starts right behind the Palace Mall, and they offer a serene atmosphere, easy access to transportation routes, and social amenities. Off-plan prices start from $35,000 US. Here's the number to call for more information: 053-101-4440 or 053-101-4447. You can also visit our website at www.nestas.com.gh. Stick and stay. There's so much more coming your way on the AM Show.
So the Ghana Railways Company Limited workers began an industrial strike yesterday after their salaries were not paid for about 7 months. That's what the workers tells us. And as a result, they are demanding, they've tabled quite a lot of demands to the Ghana Railway Company as well as the government. And one of them is, the main thing is that they want government to pay their 7 months arrears to them. And also, they are demanding that the Railway Company Limited management are also sacked. They are relieved from their positions. And the last one is quite an interesting one. You realize that state institutions, workers do not want privatization, or they do not want private entities, investors to be included in their affairs. But when you come to the Ghana Railway Company workers, that's not the case. The workers are now demanding that the government allow private investors into the railway company, or totally they want privatization of the company because of chronic mismanagement. As a result of the strike yesterday, this particular coach that you are seeing behind me is the coach that plies the Accra-Tema railway line, and it's supposed to be in Accra by this time. It moves from here, the Tema railway station where we currently are, it moves from here around 6 a.m. and gets to Accra around 7 a.m., 7:15, 7:20. But yesterday and today, that's not the case. This particular coach has been here yesterday and today. It has not moved to anywhere. what we are picking on grounds when we engage some of the traders that are around the railway stations, that when this particular coach started working, they were benefiting from the sales from the passengers. Today and yesterday wasn't the case, because the passengers were told that the workers were not going to work. So because of that, the passengers are not coming, and they are recording low sales. I've been engaging businesswomen, a trader who sells porridge and also food joints here, and they tell us that this morning and yesterday they recorded low sales because of the workers being on strike. So this coach, we've been told, was the coach that was plying the Nsawam Accra railway line, but because the coach on my right, which was initially for the Accra Tema railway line, has broken down, and the parts that they need, the Ghana Railway Company is not getting it, because this coach was manufactured from China, and China is no more manufacturing this particular coach that you are seeing on your shorts, the one with the Ghana flag you are seeing on your shorts. They are not getting that parts, so they had to pack it and bring the coach from the Nsawam to the Tema railway line. So this morning, the situation is that the Tema Accra railway line train is parked here and not working. I have one of the workers here that I want to engage. Good morning. Pacho Frozen.
Kwesi entry.
Kwesi entry. Anope me unso wa say enemo ko strike ade na wa.
Me security need untimi ko strike me because wo be kono kronfo betumi afo achi. Aba be fa ade nti security for there. So adwuma be ko strike security for nka ho.
Na situation ankasa saying you say train is here, say already in some ko strike, but anope passengers na aba say senkomba be fa train no more.
So the yes one nyina say abosom nwotwe ni enso yentua yeka eno ne how portion di ginam sisia ama ya ko strike no.
Na anope passengers omo free train no ebi eba say so mo be fa student na we
bi mo ba so mo ba be futre ba nso de mitimi ka kiro mo say yenso ye be fa mo akwadwuma mo akosua de hu mo da achen but yenso de yensa de be ko ya no ne yere ne ma be di no bi no honti no yenso ya park train na so kopem say aban no be miska and sana train na move.
That's it. So what he is telling me is that because of the strike, that's why the coach is being parked here, as I've already narrated. And he tells me that some of the passengers that used to ply this particular trade they came here this morning that they intended to board this particular train, but they didn't get the opportunity because of the strike. But what you can see is, yes, what you can see in your shot is that the train itself is rusting. They are in a poor state, but still they were using them. So, sweetie, that's the situation here at the Tema railway station.
We'll get back to you when we need more updates on the railway workers' industrial action. And Collins Frimpong is in Tema, and he's monitoring that industrial action, like I said, and we will get back to that in a bit. We have another conversation coming up this morning, a conversation with an industrialist on sustaining a good business environment. What does the 4-month stability of the Ghana cedi mean to the business or to businesses here in Ghana, amidst calls by Guta to its members to reduce prices? And how do we ensure investor confidence, which is critically needed in our quest for economic growth? These and many more pertinent issues of national interest coming up in a bit with our guest, Dr. Prince Kofi Klugeson. He's a former president for AGI. AGI is Association of Ghana Industries, and he's the CEO, Celtel Networks Limited. He comes with a rich background of knowledge and wisdom in the industry and everything we need to. And I'm looking forward to learning from him and understanding what the climate is right now for businesses and industry. So Benjamin and I are here to steer the conversations for you. And our guests, we've sandwiched our guest, and I'm introducing him to you now. Welcome, Mr. Klugeson. Dr. Klugeson, I'm sorry. Benjamin.
Thank you, Ben. How are you?
It's been a while since we had you.
Yes.
And always when we have you, it's pretty interesting because we delve into the business sector and matters related. But even before we kickstart matters, we just had that conversation. Sweetie anchored it with Richard Razali, the EU ambassador to Ghana. It's all about that forum, business forum. What do you think about the partnership between the European Union and Africa and how things are going? Interestingly, I saw some people up in arms about the AU summit that we're having now and how the EU has representation there. But when the EU is doing something, we don't have representation. What do you think about all of that?
All these issues, I think it's an old mindset, of where Africa came from, where we are, where we must be. How come when there is AU conference, the EU is there? How come when there's EU conference, the AU is not there? I mean, there is a question, who is AU, who is EU? It's a conference, so we must be there, and why we must not be there, we need to investigate it and make sure that we are there. Africa has moved from those mindsets or mentalities. We need to have what we call positive mentality right now and make sure that we are there. Either way, we must be there. Otherwise, we'll be losing out, because what they are saying, we have them. The only what they are here is what we have, not the politics, but what we have as people, the value that we have, the value that we possess. That's why they are here. So we must also, we also go there, because the value that we think we get and bring back. So I think that we must be there. I mean, to be very simple, we should be at their place. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's come back to Ghana from the EU and everything happening. When you look at this new leadership under the National Democratic Congress, in these first few months, they gave themselves the 120-day social contract, including talk about a 24-hour economy. But how far has this administration come for business? Inflation, exchange rate, some of these composites. What have you seen so far?
I'm not a student of politics. I'm a student of administration, as you just mentioned. So I do not like to talk about NDC or NPP. Once the government is won, as you said, it's administration. Let's focus from there. I think so far, so very, very good. All the dynamics, are coming out, very well, for business and also for society. We in business, we do this to make sure that, society is satisfied. So the issues that are going on are very, very positive. And I hope that they'll fast track, whatever they are doing. Because you see, we're almost in June. My major issue is that while these things are being done, social issues are being done, 6 months are almost passed. But the strategic decision that must be taken must also be taken very fast. Because, budget has been read, budget is moving, very soon in medium budget. So far, it's been very, very good, and I only hope and pray that they stay focused without, moving, astray. So far, it's been very good. The CD to the dollar is very surprising. Many people, which can be done, which is something that we must do a long time ago. I think also the discipline of the appointees, so far is very good, which doesn't used to be there before. They are focused on trying to achieve the mandate of the president, who's been out and came back, trying to ensure that the last, period that he has, everything's back to focus, and then we can move on from there. So I can say very positive.
Often we say industrial growth thrives on stable policy direction. Would it be an accurate statement to say that the progress you just said we are making is because of the policy direction of this administration? Politics aside.
Yes. You see, everywhere in the world, if you look at what is happening around, just take, Burkina Faso and all that is going on. What is happening? Just a policy. I want to do this. This must be done. It must be done this way. Carry people along, not it is me. You achieve results. You see, all over. When you travel all over the world, all the people who are... You see, another major issue, which I'm very, very happy about this government, is the youthful exuberance of the government. The youthful exuberance, which didn't used to be there before. We were young when... Anytime I come to this studio, I always make those comments. This studio, this company was formed by a young man. Today it is here. So the confidence level that the government is placing on the young people or our children, let me put it that way, I'm very, very proud of it, and I hope they stay focused. And also the young people are beginning the opportunity must also realize that it's a major opportunity given them. They must not abuse it. They must focus so that we can move in. And those of us who are at this age must also stay behind them and making sure that we guide them so that they can achieve results. So that after this administration, all the administration will have no choice than to continue, where this administration will leave off. So yes, it is very positive, and I think that the youthful environment is very, very good. Not only the youthful environment, from the various sectors, they're picking everybody, if you will, from the streets, have confidence, go and try it, go and fix it. From nowhere, people are going there, and all of a sudden they're all already positive, fixing it. So I think that is what I think must be. Ghana must move on the young people and making sure that, the future is handled by the young, like other countries. Is
that something you missed during the Estwal administration?
Oh yes. You see, the last administration, they are friends, but the focus and direction was not Ghanaian. Let me put it
was not Ghanaian?
No.
What was the focus of it?
The focus is something else. You see, it's not Ghanaian, because Ghanaian, we are young people, from birth of this country. The young people, we the young people created the foundation of government in this country, especially from the private sector. I can tell you, see, all this country, all that has happened, I don't see any government sector that did anything. We, the young private sector, fought very hard, after the revolution, and make sure that things are done, brought policies. Telecom brought telecom policy, Constitution brought, video policies and radio. It's all young people.
Right.
You see, so, and that got lost, got lost and all kinds of things, and then, lack of jobs were created and so many things. But now that, government has realized that, look, let's go back to where we left or where we must be, you realize that they are starting well. Okay. You see, because, if you go to universities, you see the minister will tell you there are 500,000, sweetie, universities. Where are they going?
Yeah.
Where the government employment? They can only be created in the private sector. Or their own, nation that gave me this and I'll deliver. So I believe that they are doing very well. But please, they should also not make sure that they abuse the trust that government has put in them. And you, the media, have a lot to do to educate them, to help them as well. I think it's good.
Ben will come back in, but you also mentioned the CD stability. You're an industry expert, so I want to hear from you. Is this real, and how is it affecting local industries?
You see, I've listened to everything, and I'm so excited. But the only one thing that I'm very happy about is the Minister of Finance. He said that it's not a one-day wonder. It is sustainable. If it is so, then we are succeeding already.
If it is so, you're also using a conditional clause.
Yeah, because he said, people say, is it a 9-day wonder?
Yeah.
But he says, no, it's sustainable forever. So you should focus on sustainability. Why am I saying so? You see, all these debts that we have, in Ghana, it's all because of dollar to city. IMF, this, that, but if you start converting right now, the debts are coming down.
True. Yeah.
You see, and now major issue about this country is equity, and policies or positive policies. If you do that, everything changes. You see, now for all of the Gota is now asking his people, reduce prices, which they used to be more in aggressive mode. But now the policy has changed as well. So it's a very good policy. And I hope that it's sustained. It should not be one-day wonder.
Okay.
Because if it's one-day wonder, we'll get back very hard at them, and they cannot breathe.
Ghanaians are very wild now.
Yeah, we cannot breathe.
How much faith do you have in that sustainability? Because there's political rhetoric and there are the actuals on the ground. You know about the actuals, and I've given you some of the parameters: the exchange rate, inflation, the business community, electricity, water. Do you feel this can be sustained?
You see, governance is about people and your mindset. The last one we had from the Minister of Finance, was not right. The compartment of the person, I'm the one who knows it all. It hurt everything. You see, leadership is, if you look at the new minister, his comportment, going to the market, before doing all this, the feel of the people, what exactly are the issues, let me know what it is. And he got those information, and then got his economists around to be able to do this, I think that it's going to affect everything. It started already, I mean, if you go to all the meetings that I go to, everybody's trying to change their books, their thought for Ghana, their policy issues, I mean, all of a sudden, the world has come out, Ghana, city, the best in the world today. Those are positive. You see, one of the things, Ben, who do not know is that whatever happens in Ghana, we, the private sector, are the ones that accept the brand. Because there are so many people who want to come and invest in Ghana. We want to come and join to do partnership. They're hearing all this, and so they hold off. It's not about government at all. It's about the private sector, how the country will grow.
And speculation and all.
Speculation. So therefore, when these are going on, it will continue. Even at the end of the year, of course, it can change, but let's sustain it for the longest period of time. Whatever is the indiscipline before, the indiscipline must go. Let the discipline come. Because see, when Ghana is the headquarters of the African continental trade, so Ghana should be booming. We don't need to invite anybody to come here to establish an office because the policy is there already. So people want to be in Ghana to be able to run their companies in Africa to 1.3 million, I'm told, population. So that's what must be, and it's all driven by foreign exchange. If I bring my money here, what is the ROI? Period.
Yeah.
Returns on investment.
Yeah, that's it. That's about it.
Okay.
So in respect of our natural resources, for example, we have quite a bit of them now. We are learning that iron ore is also, it's not that we are now getting to know about it. I mean, it's been, the geologists have conducted surveys decades ago. We knew. We're now trying to exploit them, lithium and all of these. Do you think it is high time we reshaped our natural resources extraction laws, especially vis-a-vis equity, local content versus those who come in and, the royalties that are paid?
You just touched my heart because I'm told I'm professor of equity. You see, look, if you look at the OT region, we actually prevented it from being taken over. We did because I'm the president of the Water Development Forum. When it would have been sold, long before. It's been there for a long time.
Indeed.
So we have to actually move in to prevent it being done. You see, look, Ghana problem is all about equity, Ben, what you said. You see, company is between 0 to 100%. That's all it is. If you go to history, all these, pastors, the bishop, the missionaries, the CFO, the private that came to Africa, it's because of private sector business. 90% natural resources. Shani Goldfield was only 250 pounds those days. Today is this. But the lawyers, the policy makers, the government are not realizing that the issue is equity. Look, all this global business, they are doing very, very well, but I do not see why you are telling the foreigner who has a company here to grant you right to 20% of the gold. No, take 20% equity, Or if anything, we say the highway to refine from 2026, Ghana policy, Appeal Market, and they stop this and focus on this thing, and then find a policy that Ghana's equity laws are so far. But our major problem in the private sector in Ghana is that Ghana has no laws for equity. Our shares have no power value. That's one of the major problems that we have in this country. According to the company's code, our shares have no power value. So when you go to people they go to Registrar General, they register the company, they own 100%. They go to mineral commissions or whatever it is, they get whatever they want. They go to GIPC and they go and show you land. So you own 100%.
No, but in the real structuring of, for example, the big corp in mining, right? You do know that a lot of the time it's also based on extraction. Sometimes it takes years for them to find the exact places where we can extract some of these minerals. They make massive investments. We are not willing, we don't have the capacity, at least we pretend we don't, to go on the ground and do this and put in the work. If we did, we would have 100% equity. But since we don't and we bring in some of these entities from abroad, when they come, they say, they strike deals with us that we're going to expend so much. And so when it comes to extracting the resources and benefiting from it, you're only getting 5%, 10%, and the rest. Is that not the truth? Is it not fair?
Very, very, very wrong. Very, very wrong. All over the world, the country owns everything. So if you're interested in my country, you want to come invest in my company, my equity might be so much. The risk that you carry is borne by me. And all of them must be equity laws. Then in South Africa, 30% black empowerment. you know, Cyril Ramaphosa, you know, move out of politics. They went to Singapore to learn their policy. They established it. The U.S. to get the next same 85%. All the Trump that is doing everything in America had nothing to do with it. He's bringing equity back to the United States of America. It's ours. You see, do you know most of those who come and do the investment here, Ben, they do what we call consortium financing in Ghana. Most of the money is raised in Ghana here. From the Ghanaian banks, so what we call consortium financing. They don't bring any money, you know, to do anything. You see, we're here when, you know, Talo was established. I was president of AGI. We're here when Cosmos came to Ghana. They didn't bring any money, you know. You see, so these issues, sometimes we are very, very serious, especially me. I'm very, very keen to that, to drive with that. Now, let us be bold enough to say that we are passing laws for equity. We can negotiate. you can negotiate it. Because if you don't do that and time has passed again, who comes here? You know, it's me and you.
You negotiate with your bargaining chips.
We have a lot of bargaining chips.
Depends on what you're bringing to the table.
We have a lot on the table.
So why are we still getting these royalties, pittances?
That is why, because what does Traore that from 0 to 100? What are the Sahel? Niger was $20. Now they got $200 for their gold. Kill me if you want. The thing is, that is the policy of business.
It's lithium.
You see, just forget about thing. It's ours. Our policy is that we'll do 35% or 50%. Let them negotiate it down. You see, look, GNPC, all this railway business we're just seeing, how can a railway be like that? You know, they have not been paid 7 months. Right. You see, if you look at, this OT business, they are going to be listening, the geologists, the but I'm looking at the lawyers who say, look, this is the policy where it's going to go. You see, no, I think, look, if you go to southern area there are a lot of lithium all over the place. Both areas a lot. You look at all these tidal waves and whatever they are talking about. Sometimes I sit down and say, what is going on? Look, Ben, it's not a tidal wave. It's a huge economic enclave. Huge economic enclave like Bahamas. We've been there, the sun, the sea, whatever it is. Let's go for economic enclave. Don't buy rocks and put in the sea and you think that, whatever thing, how we stop it. No. It's all about equity. And people want to do it. People want to do that. So let us make sure that we let this government know, please, let's go for equity. Do it if it does not work, that we know that it does not work. Forget about the pittance. Look, man, we are rich. We are very, very rich. This country is a very, very rich country. Even the knowledge base of this country. Yeah. The knowledge base of this country.
The former president said, it's Sikaso, so But you see, I'm listening to you, it sounds as if we are actually making some gains. But we need some structural, systemic transformation to sustain those gains. And when you talk about sustainable development, it's about structures, systems, so that you don't go back and forth and you don't know what you're doing. Which brings me to my question, in terms of moving from consumption-based economy to production-based. I saw you reference Traore and what they're doing to refine whatever they're doing, their tomatoes, gold, and all that. Do you think realistically, in the next decade or so, Ghana can achieve that, where we move, if not completely, shift a bit from consumption-based economy, and then maybe all this conversation about equity and the pittances that remain in the economy and all that, do you see that happening, realistically?
You see, leaders in the world that do things. And I can tell you, if our President John Mahama decided to fix it, I told him at the Economic Forum, that he has 2 years, to let us fix these policies. And then the other ones will go on. Look, in that room that day, in the Economic Forum, I saw young Ghanaians. The CEO of Stanchart, Nete, is a Ghanaian lady. Yeah. The Stock Exchange, Abanamwa, EcoBank. These 3 young children of ours are more than enough to transform this economy.
At the Commodity Exchange.
Commodity Exchange, well, yeah. Yes. They were all there, they are the friends. Then the IFC lady was there. After I spoke, referring to them, then the IFC now spoke, I am the one who fixed Vietnam. I think I'm right, it can be done. Okay. It doesn't take anything. You understand? I set up the Stock Exchange. I led it. We created it. How many Ghanaian companies are there? You see, let's listen to our children, our young. Let us help us to move to the next level. You understand? Because see, if you don't do that, all this, it's all about equity. Nobody can say anything. You go to AGI, I'm called Mr. Equity. When I was AGI president, we pushed this thing. The closer we go was the local content. Those days, we push to to Parliament, the number 30% equity laws in Ghana. Somewhere down the line, it got changed to local content. You know what happened to the local content? Told another start hiring Ghanaians abroad, and bringing them to Ghana to create the local content laws, to be able to fill it. So we lost that. Now, after 2 years, they go away. You see, forget about whatever we are doing. Ben, let us copy. If we want to copy Traore, what is that his name? Traore, what have they done? Let's just do it from 2025, 2026, 2027, I don't care. So between that 27, we see what will happen. Look, if you go to the Office of African Continental Trade, you don't see Ghanaian businessmen there, Ben. Foreigners are flying there every day, getting papers signed, getting documents done, and then it is registered under African Continental Trade. Look, if one day you take a vehicle from here to Kumasi, on the road, you see a lot of these Burkina Faso trucks from our port here. A lot of them. Fully loaded trucks, machinery, whatever, on a daily basis, as we're spending on the road, from our port here. Our port here, the MPS here, whatever regiment is there, but who is gaining? You say, look, please, let us focus for the next 1 year. Let the professors, let the policymakers do that. Ghana will turn around in no time. Just look at the issue of the current foreign exchange. I'm talking to Guta president the other day. We started Guta many years ago from AGI. When I was president, we brought them. Today, there are almost 7-8 million traders. And the reason for Guta set up at that time was that they have the cash. So let us use the cash, then they can move it to factories, so that we don't have to be importing. But as it grew, they rather grew into trading. Now what the dollar thinker, they are now rethinking now, So these are all little policies, which are local policies. Another problem in the universities of Ghana, you see, our universities are too focused also on academic and degrees.
And that's a problem.
It's a big problem, You see, they're now focused on what must be. People go to Harvard, MIT, whatever it is, and then they come up, and things happen where you meet other private sector people. Another problem in Ghana, that in the university in the US, you start internship from second year. Yeah. Or Britain, from the company, so you start learning. So by the time you finish, it's difficult. Look at the minister of, look at that, 1 million coders to be trained, man. Do you know what that means? That's a multi-billion-dollar opportunity. But why are you going to train them?
But all these things you talk of, is it not also because, I agree with you to a certain extent, our education may be a little half-baked. We're more literal than practical. And that also has its own downsides. I've always said that if you go to other jurisdictions, Germany, Switzerland, France, they have in France, for example, they are the Polytechnique, which in fact some of the best, training you can get. You get it at some of these institutions, but we focus on
academic,
what you can put in your head and all of that. I'm not saying it's totally that.
No, it's not wrong.
But the hands-on approach and possibilities of interning, building on your knowledge, hands-on skills, they are problematic. But speaking of which, what can be done about that? This is how our colonial setup up to now has been. Can it be changed? Can it be reversed?
You see, when you talk about colonial issues, then what is colonial? Ben, from the time you are born to today, do you know you've ever been here? Whatever brought you here is your own driving force and spirit to be here. So I don't want to worry too much about colonialism or whatever it is. It's far gone. There's not like colonialism anymore. We must be very positive. You see, I'm a college student of college of graduate of positive mental attitude and negative mental attitude. If you want to say negative, say negative. I don't stay there. I want to be positive because that's what must happen. You see,
but they also say that you can't move into the future unless you
need to move forward.
Build on your past.
Yes, the past is the foundation. So I come from Harvard. I'm here. I tell everybody that whatever I am, those days. I tell some stories sometimes because I was doing story. I lost my father when I was 11 years old. The day I was going to high school, secondary school, I couldn't go. Here I am. If I want to stay negative, I would have been there. Yeah. You see, so most of these issues must be more. I go around the whole school, the whole system, talking to people, children, education, and what I hear, what I get, it's amazing. The talent base. Sometimes just give me a small tablet, you know, to children which I donate. It's a whole different story, you know, for them. You know, they can learn. Only yesterday, I was so happy I heard Kabonu, the Nagrat, you know, heard. Say they should not change the law. You know, children in high school, they cannot even have a phone. They cannot even have a smartphone.
He says they should regulate rather than, because
they don't have
they have them anyway.
But they have them, you know, anyway. But the law says they must not have them. 1.5 million children of knowledge base where you can learn, where you can do all kinds of things. The law says they must not have, you know. I did a program in West Cape some time ago. Then the lady who was in charge of that policy said that my children in Texas, you know, are doing well because of tech and so and so and so. Then the principal upstairs in Cape Coast, you know, University raised my hand. Madam, I said that in Ghana here, our children cannot do so. Then it's, oh, Dr. Krugin will handle that question, I cannot handle it. You see, there are a few little things that are dragging us behind, you know. And all of a sudden, from nowhere, Minister of Education is on the ball. Cyber security and this and that and that and that. And you know, it's bigger than gold and diamond and all the natural resources.
Yeah.
This sector is much bigger, you know.
So would you say we need a total overhaul of our education system?
We need a total
because
overhaul.
We inherited what the colonizers gave us, and so as far as we are still using what they gave us, we are still thinking the way they want us to think.
You see, I chaired the education, you know, conference, finance in WHO. Huge conference of brains, you know, Ben, in WHO at the Serene Hotel. What I found out, the challenges there, and they are knowledgeable, you know, but they are regulated. One of the things was that we mentioned, one of the vice chancellor was complaining that the school is about 2,500 cedis. The hostel fees are 6,500. So the students all leave your village to go to the universities, they pay the 2,500 cedis, but they have to pay 6,500 cedis. Two, and I said, how come you cannot do so? So we are regulated by Parliament. And I said, well, but the parliamentarians come from the universities. Can't you lobby them to be able to do whatever? I said, well, it's not as easy as that. You know, I said, why not? Then one of the parliamentarians said, well, they don't even draw attention to this factual that you're bringing out. You see, when you go down to the basics, you find all the answers and the reason why not. You see, Ghana today, let me tell you, some of the one I listen to disco minority, majority, it shouldn't be there. They are young, brilliant guys there. Let's get them around to focus on policies and legal things that are needed for Ghana to move forward. Let's do that first. As for being president tomorrow, it's only one of them that can be.
That actually sounds more idealistic than real. Because, I mean, I cannot say deepen polarization right now in a parliament, but it's coming. We are nearing there. I don't see a time where we can do away with minority, majority, and come together.
What is minority? What is majority? You know, they lobby among themselves.
They
when
do,
they have to share money.
Yeah.
You know, when they have to share money. We know them. They are friends. They are children.
So careful you don't get someone before,
I'm not.
Before any committee.
I know them and everybody.
The religious committee might.
It just takes. I think the reset to me is enough. Let's move to reform and transform. You know, because the reset has been done. It's good, you know, but let's move to, you know. See, you know, when you hear all these people, minority, one of them, you know, when they speak and do all the things, then behind the scenes, if it's me personally, I wouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
We say that all the time. But let's stay on the bit about tech savviness. Because that's where the world is. AI and everything has come to dominate. Celtel Networks. Is Celtel Networks what I have known from the early 2000s, or is it something different? Before we get to Awudome Senior High School.
You heard about that too. You see, Celtel, we've been very quiet. You see, Celtel Network, we suffered about these equity issues in Ghana here. You know, those days.
I just want some clarity though. Do you remember in the early 2000s?
Oh yeah.
Is it the same?
Yeah. It's the same. It's the same.
I remember there was an office around Pig Farm. I remember the Maestro Plaza.
Yeah, but we moved
on the other end.
We moved on from CDMB Voice. Okay. You know, but we are quite big now, major in other areas, in smart cities, which we've been announcing about some 3-4 years now. The goal is to be able to, all the things we're talking about, how do you transform the continent or the country to smart knowledge, you know, and smart networks, you know, and we'll be very successful about it. Quietly, you know, but we are doing very well. You know, one of the major things we are doing is, you know, if I tell you that we are partnering with all the churches in Ghana to transform the church to digital churches, so that after God business at 2 o'clock, the youth take over and then learn.
Wow. Now all the churches are collecting Momo and stuff, so more digital moment.
Not even that. I said,
I'm just,
let me celebrate.
Dr. Bawumia.
No. You see, Bawumia was just misconstrued. You know that my brother was just misconstrued, and those who were around. Oh yeah, those who were around him. He meant well, but it was just misconstrued. You see, digitalization, all this issue, it's not that. It is not that. You see, if you look at one of the things that delivered the blood, that blood thing was the startup they met in LA, or I think Silicon Valley, who came and then do whatever he wanted to do, and he did. You see, it's not digitalization. Right. Digitalization, you see, when you come to your place, you see all this equipment here, I don't know how you guys do it. You see, so yes, the issues about certain networks, which we are doing right now, we decided, maybe people should stay home. But it's also a blessing if you look at Warren Buffett and all of them, whatever you are blessed with. So what we are focusing on, you see, when you look at all the telcos today, Ben, we created them in the 90s. MTN is 1994 network. AT, Millicom, and also now it's even Telecel. I created Telecel as a company. In Senegal those days, because when we were doing the Celtel network, the goal was to use Celtel as an African footprint from AT&T, which I brought, to transform it. So when you go to Senegal, we didn't get Telcel, but that company was also sold to the French guys, and then they are back again to acquire Vodafone or whatever the arrangements are. But the networks at Vodafone is still Ghana Telecom network. You can hear Vodafone Telecom, but the network there is even preceded the 1994 one, which is the newest one. So all of them, about 80% voice in the networks. You see, it's not on. So now when people come here, it's very difficult. Now you cannot. Now then, MTN they move to Momo. Momo is about, I don't know, maybe about 50% of their revenue base.
It generates a lot.
Yeah, it generates a lot. So the data itself and the network, it's also lower. So I hear they're even selling out the Momo. So it means that, more investment has to go. So what Celtel is doing basically is really to solve our major focus on education, right now.
And let's situate it there just briefly so that we can get, there's Awudome SHS.
Okay.
You've been doing the Wi-Fi. How does all of that feed into the smart cities concept? Okay,
it was not that problem. What happened was that thinking out of the box, there was a conference in, one day in Bonsu, major conference or education conference. So when the vice president, everybody was there. So I spoke about these issues. How do we get the children empowered? How do we not do it? How do we change all these issues, and then become more positive in education, and empower our children, more or devices, connectivity, and then they can do teaching and learning from wherever they are. They don't need to, and how the online training is becoming a very major thing all over the world, India, China, and all of them. So it became a very major, discussion. So Professor Drew, who, was there, and then he approached me to learn from University of Winneba, and also then there was a group there called the PTA, the PTA. So they approached me. The
Parent Teachers Association.
Parent Teachers, yeah. And then a NACOG private school, they wanted to more elaborate what can be done. So they should leave government, alone. Let's see how we can empower them to be able to do it. So we began the journey, and how to what can we do. So as we see, we did about 30 schools privately. Nobody even knows about it. To Akotia Technical School, Awudome, we did, in Pusiga, Enchi, for University of Winneba, quietly, to test, whatever should be done. So what we found out that, these children, there are 1.5 million of them in the SHS. 1.5 million.
How many of those are you targeting, and what's the goal?
We are targeting all of them. So
all of them? All 1.5 million?
All 1.5 million. So the PTA came and approached me, so what can we do? And they brought T-Tel, some NGO, who they'll be buying tablets, but it's not working. So we went to look for the tablet. You see, today, all these devices are all for education, or what we call teaching and learning. You see, so most of them, you can be anywhere, but the key must be connectivity or Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
At a certain standard. Wi-Fi 6, not just only, Now, another thing is very expensive. What do you do? So we got the journey. So finally, we came up with a policy that if the PTA will agree, we'll partner with them to we'll provide internet and Wi-Fi to all the schools in Ghana, at a certain, arrangement, which is done in India and others. So they did a lot of consultants, so we finally agreed, and it's happening, So they've decided that they will launch this in Audum. Because that day, apparently, the parliamentary subcommittee on education was waiting vote origin. So we are doing Hoteka University, we did University of Winneba, about 49 locations, and also the church, we did the Cedar Mountain, we are beginning Cedar Mountain, we did the Assemblies of God in Adenta, so that we create, which is part of our smart, church approach. Smart city basically is a policy, of the world today that in La Volta, you have 275 districts. The major issue you have is that there's no connectivity in Afram Plains, in Havre, it's all these areas. But when you take the municipality and you connect, and then you put all of them together, the whole country is connected. Knowledge base remains there, So we began this journey and the last 2-3 years before even this government came. But the PTA, not government, but all the approval that we never have it. So the PTA, Ghana Institute of Private Schools, NACOPS are championing. Now NASIA just come up. I didn't know there are almost about 100,000 private schools in Ghana, Ben. All of them. They pay 10,000 and made a lot of money saying go to school. But when you go there, there are no devices, there are no Wi-Fi. But this project says that every child in school must have Wi-Fi at home. Every child, they must be not denied. So we have another project for smart televisions.
So this is all private?
All
without
private.
the intervention or any sort of association with government?
No, all private.
Okay.
All the private. So all of them, can you believe all the banks have now joined in, to provide, what they call, they brought high purchase, so we don't want high purchase. We want the subscription. So if you give to Ben for 3 years, 250 or 300 a month, it's done. You have everything. When you're here, you carry it. You see, until today, most of the traffic on the streets of Ghana is from that problem. The analysis has shown by Essential that the reason for the traffic is that most people are running to the office to turn on the computer to work because they don't have connectivity at home. Another one is that there's a consultant here from the US. They went to all the schools when they are closing, Morningstar, when my children were in school. But the cars that go to pick those children, are very, very expensive, like Benz, very, very, I love a car.
Yeah.
Then you have a question, how can you say that Ghanaian children or Ghanaian parents are poor? Let's begin. Yeah. So today we have NGOs, many, funding companies who are trying to build, this is a very, one of the, do you know what happened in this? After these devices, it was a wild thing, in Audum the other day. And I think the guy to the right is one, Mr. Chu, he's the leader who championed this. They did very, very, very well. And the students were very disciplined, and they have the knowledge already. Oh, no.
They just need that little push.
That little push, we are doing the same thing in Kenya right now. We are doing Rwanda and also, Nigeria in July.
There's a girl, there's a story we read in the newspaper yesterday and today about a 15-year-old girl whose father defiled her and got her pregnant. And in Tokon or Toja, one of those places. And I just want to see how this sits with you. Because often it's because these children don't have any other source of entertainment, so they're just in the house. Since I heard the story yesterday, I've been asking a lot of questions about it. First of all, what do you make of it, and how do we bring situations like these to an end? And then we can talk of leadership of the country as a whole, and we can wrap up.
You see, sweetie, when you travel, I was in China 3 months ago, then I was taken aback. No, China, I've been there 15 years ago. China has changed what you said, TVET, knowledge, everything is, there's no time for that child in that village to do that. You grab in the villages. If these new policies have done, you see, one of the things we are doing is to also partner with the local government, the municipalities, so that in these things can be achieved. You see, this thing, the refinement, all of them, it saddens me. Another one is about 8-year-old, it's been defiled, So I think the key for me, all over the place that I've seen, is must be technology.
Technology?
Yes.
How?
You see, when you do technologies, and the cameras and all of that under the smart, approach. These things will start being minimizing. One of the major things technology is smart agriculture. You know that. Yes. You meet people who have about 2,000-3,000 acres, 7 employees. They press their phone. There's irrigation. They press their phone. They do this, and also the system of agribusiness must be changed. See, agribusiness is not farming; it's markets. It has nothing to do with farming. It has nothing to do with markets. You see, if you KFC and all of them, all the chicken they do, if you can even buy all the chicken in Ghana, they cannot even produce to satisfy even KFC in Ghana here. So the business side is for the villages. If when they can go to the fund, they can create all this market for them, maybe to the community. Your community is in Ghana. So all these are happening in the villages. Especially we go around the region, we talk to kids. In the Voto region, and then OT region and all of them. You see, we grew up, my mother grew up in Asukoko those days when my father was not there. And so we go there trying to support the kids there. Sometimes when I carry these machines...
Talking about support, I have reached out. I'm saying that anyone who knows the whereabouts of this girl should reach out. So I'm putting you on the spot.
We'll do that.
Hopefully when we get in touch, we can count on you to help us.
Yeah, we can. You see, when I go around and Ben, and I carry these little devices, and you notice them, sometimes you think they don't know. Look, within 5 minutes, they know already. These children, please, let us help them. Let the policy of education change. You see, we just said about the people called NASIA, we are meeting them, which all the private schools. You see, look, when you go, let us take all of us our foundations, our mothers' foundations. I was listening to Apanyama King, the interview, was it 2 days ago? So he grew up in Tiame, 2 years old, 3 years old, he went to Catholic church and did that. Well, is that his foundation? If that's foundation, let us do more of those.
Yeah.
You see, like you, what's in the street, I said, wow. You see, I know Ben for a long time. So I think that, yes, my heart now, which a legacy is for the youth, for the children, empowerment like this Udome thing that we have done. It's to make sure that whatever the government can do, I did it many years ago, where I trained all the students. Look, one of the biggest $200 I got in my whole life was on 2 girls, 2 ladies in New York. I was in the New York airport, right from my parents said, "Oh, Mr. Kulesi, please, want to see you." So I thought, "Who are you?" "Oh, you don't know us." "Oh, we want to thank you so much for the certificate you gave us. We got a job at JP Morgan. We went to your computer school in Ghana." Wow. And they gave me $100.
Wow.
But I get a lot of those wherever I go.
But that must have been something, right? Meeting them
just
out there. And
yesterday,
that feeling was way more than the money.
Ghana Medical Center, the new CEO is my friend, my cardiologist. But at Tango, so I want to see and say hello to him. When I came in, there are a lot of people on the street, and then an old lady stood up. And he said, "Oh, Dr. Kulesi, how are you?" I don't remember her. But I realized the issue, and then I said, "Okay, what do you want?" So I resourced, her, and I walked out. See, when you do good will follow you. You understand? Great. But I think if you can find a child, let me know.
Please,
we'll see what we can do.
So I like that you mentioned Apanyama King. This is my final question to you, and I'm sure Ben will come in and we'll wrap up. How would you assess the minority scrutiny of government action? I mean, it's been back-to-back scrutiny, that's the word, of every action that this new administration takes. Are we being overly dramatic with it, or is just right for our democracy?
You're a media person. You see, when they are speaking, look at their faces. Do they mean what they are reading?
I want to hear from you.
Do they mean what they are doing, or they are dramatizing?
Are they?
Is it?
So
if you look at especially Apanyama King, who's my favorite son, he's a great guy. I met him in 1999 at Trade Fair when I was president of AGI.
Okay.
See, look, he's transforming the world, but sometimes they have to play the political gimmick, But others, when they meet each other, they're all hugging, whatever it is. You see, it's a game of politics, so let's leave it like that. But when you look at their facial, I think that in America, there's something called horse trade. Both the government, they must find a way to, whatever we see in the face should happen. But they must find a way so that they get laws, things done very, very quickly. They must harmonize. It's not about minority or majority. I don't see those weights anywhere in the world. I don't see it in India, whatever. I don't see it. So they are leaders, But another problem I see about them, Sweetie, is that they are not parliamentarians for parliament, for their areas. You see, Ben, let them focus more on development of their areas. Because I'm the one I see certain things on TV when they go do all these things, the roads or whatever it is, and what they do in Parliament. They should just move forward and talk more about their. It's when you go to New York, Ben, all the so-called congressmen, they're in one room, building in Washington, and then the weekend they go to their constituencies, or their districts, where congregation is, where they work, where they focus. So they talk more of those areas. When the national policy comes, we talk about it. You see, but not like one of the things we are trying to do is to transform, Winneba to a smart university, for education. When you go there, then I told them, the professor the other day, if you go to Agona Swedru is what they call Sakawa, boys. I said, well, they're not Sakawa.
Boys.
They are knowledgeable people. So bring them on board, and let's give them certification, and we can move on. Like California was many years ago.
Yeah.
See, California was the biggest Galamsey area, Galamsey area many years ago. So Stanford Institute established Stanford when they brought the boys from there to Stanford Institute. Today, Silicon Valley, a $5 trillion economy. See, so those are the issues, the vision we must champion. So I don't think that they are good, they are brilliant. See, another problem that I'm really, really sorry about Ghana and Ben is we, the so-called elders, we are not helping.
How so?
Those days, look, everybody will go to Omar Bo's place in a monochrome. Before the next morning, they put you to straight, who are supposed to be the elders.
Yeah.
So we all go there, no, you cannot do it. See, today, the elders, it's all about the church, elders that will guide everybody and talk to people. You see, one of the things that very saddens me, let me say before I leave here, is the CJ's issue. This is a very nice one. Why I don't see anybody or any elderly, getting involved, only the same lawyers who are lawyers. See, we should not lose people. We should not lose, how they got there.
Oh, but I've heard some of former Chief Justice. I think I've heard Atuba speak about Professor Michael Kwe.
For now,
so some of the elders.
So for now, as I'm saying, they are coming out.
Okay.
But this one has gone on from nothing to that lady. Look, it's a very young lady to be Chief Justice. Whatever the reasons, I don't know. But I was at Kaswa when all those things happened, so I can understand.
You were in Kaswa at all this?
Oh, yeah, I was at the Pentecost thing when it happened. It's a person I know very, very well. So I think that we need to save that, like all these are happening, Sami, Janfi, whatever
yeah.
it is. See, those issues are not issues.
And since you've brought that in, that was going to be my final bit, though. I want to tie it to the conversation on equity in natural resources, which you started. Yeah. So before we get into the issue of Sami Gyamfi, let's look at Goldbot in itself. Sami Gyamfi has been lauded for, the work he's done in putting together, leading the concept document for the Goldbot, and what their gains have been so far in terms of export of gold and how much we are raking in just within the first quarter of the year. Let's talk about that, and then you can also talk about the issue he's had.
See, it's a very, very wonderful, this is why I'm so sad about what is happening, so that young man must not be demoralized. Ben, look, when you get demoralized, everything goes berserk. You see, look, from nowhere, within 3-4 months, it's a lawyer too, it's a very brilliant young lawyer, not old, 37, same age like Traore. Managed to put all the Forever Committee and very positive about it, and the results are shown. You see, this is why I'm saying that must not end there. He must push also as a lawyer and introduce the equity, law into it. Because you see, if you want to continue buying...
Are there not some of those aspects already in the Goldbot?
Not yet. They're talking about, now acquiring... I've not seen the whole law, I'm studying it. But I think that should be more priority now. He's doing very well. If we miss his enthusiasm, you miss his interest, and then his fast-tracking this thing, and we don't get the laws down right, which is more of equity or ownership. Even if, see, there's something we call, if you want to copy the original, I think what they can do, like Mahama is very close to, the Sahel, They should go and look at their laws. How did they get there? And let's copy, and paste. I don't really care. So I think that is what's needed to be done in the Goldbot issue. If that is done, I think that Ghana can laugh and move on, and then move on. Just a quick, I'm telling you. So you can go to America now and get Britain or China and get somebody to bring a partner here. You are happy that your equity as a Ghanaian is 30%. You don't need to go and raise the money, which is done in many, many countries, India, Vietnam, or whatever it is. So the bank can now go become a big CEO, of a big corporation, in the natural resources or extraction industry or whatever. So it's very important, yes.
Right.
Well, it's been quite a conversation. Sweetie, the last thought on my mind, not a question for you, but I remember doing blunt thoughts some years back and some statistics that came forth. You speak about California, Silicon Valley and all of that. You know, the GDP of California is higher than the GDP of the entire African continent. The entire African continent. I mean, as of last year, I think it was around 4-point-something trillion. Almost $5 trillion. And in Africa, everything put together as of 2020 was around 2.6 trillion. I have not checked for 2024, so I'm putting those statistics out there. But it just tells you about the disparities, how much we have, and we talk about the natural resources again, versus what our output is. And definitely, those must be changed. But thank you so much for joining us.
When I arrived in California, I moved from Chicago to California. Howard Hughes, Paul Getty, you know, it was too cold, so I moved to California with my family. I live in Beverly Hills. Now, you see gold, you see diamonds, and all of them. Paul Getty, Howard Hughes. And when this gentleman, Stanford, brought idea, policy about California dealing with the gold, all of them went away. Knowledge base from the young people is created a $5 trillion economy, you know. So I think it's a good idea, another day.
From all the successes that you've chalked in all your years of experience, if you were to share a word of wisdom with this new administration, if they're watching you right now, in terms of how we can sustain the gains they've made so far, what would it be in 30 seconds? And then we are off.
You see, this government, first of all, they should leave Jamfi alone.
Okay.
Whatever it is, you know, please, they should not do anything to moralize him. You know, please, we are our child, and whatever it is, we'll talk to him behind the scenes and go. But I think that John Mahama also knows his history, know his story. The chief of staff know his story. Please, the talk is a lot. They should start focusing on achieving results because of timing. See, the world, things are changing. So let them quickly do whatever they need to do. Focus on that very quickly. But I see another problem, please, media, let the Ghana Bar Association, you know, who has always been very negative in this kind of thing, this year president, come to the positives, you know, so that we can get our laws changed. You know, company could have said, no, they are changing the constitution.
Yeah.
You know, I met the CEO of the Ghana GIPC. Look, sweetie, it's all about laws.
Yeah.
You see, so you can change the laws quickly. That's where I am, you know,
right.
for equity, and we can go on from there.
Thank you. So let's talk more action. And that is Dr. Prince Kofi Klugeson, former president, AGI, and CEO, Celtel Networks Limited. Thank you so much. It's been a conversation, like Ben said.
Thank you for Ben.
Okay.
Well, Ghana, let's talk water tanks. Do you know the secret to real water storage? It's actually very simple, silly simple. If your tank doesn't have the tortoise on it, it's not the correct tank. That's right, the Tortoise Tank Sintex tank is the champion of water tanks. It is strong, it is durable, and it is built to handle our Ghanaian weather. So rain or shine, Sintex tank has your back. So my people, go outside, check your tank. If it doesn't have the achichidie, the tortoise on it, it's time to scale up, upgrade. Join the Sintex tank family today and enjoy water storage that's tough like a tortoise. All you have to do, call this number, 0244 335 168 to buy one now or find any of their 400 agents nationwide. You can also shop online at syntexgh.com. Sintex tank, strong, tough.
Now, you've probably used a Share product today, even without realizing it. You're probably aware that it's found in a variety of beauty products, such as creams and emollients. Now, what you might not realize is that shea trees play an important role in climate change adaptation. Yet, shifting weather patterns and logging are jeopardizing the survival of these trees and the livelihoods of people earning income from the shea tree. Joy News's Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin visited 2 settlements in the Savannah region where women who previously relied on shea nuts for a living have no choice but to travel to the cities in search of non-existent jobs. He filed the following report, and that's the end of this segment of conversation.
Zubaida worked in Ghana's capital city, Accra, as head porters, carrying luggage to fend for themselves. But they returned home when they realized that the capital city is not a suitable venue to survive as young women.
I was doing kayaye in Accra. Prior to that, I was hand-picking shea nuts. It was not fruiting anymore, so I had to leave for Accra.
Both in their mid-20s, they now live in their hometown called Sumpini and Kojope in the Savannah region, where everyone relied on shea fruits for survival. Like Nafisa and Nuria, almost everyone in the villages harvested ripe fruits for sale to earn an income. It is how they have sustained their children's education and maintain their families.
When shea nuts were in abundance, we could pick them for 1 week and process them to make 1,000 Ghana cedis or 600 Ghana cedis, which you can use for your daily needs. It's no longer there, which is why we are doing kayaye.
They are just two of hundreds of young women who migrate to the cities every year, hoping to make a better living. Before being processed, every share in the world passes through the hands of 60 million rural women farmers whose lives, as well as that of their family and communities, depend on shea trees. For women in northern Ghana who hand-produce shea butter in their homes, it is a source of food, medication, cosmetics for skin and hair. But the women do not know why the trees are not bearing much fruits anymore.
The shea tree no longer bears fruit as it once did. This forces us to concentrate on charcoal production. When the shea fruited well, it provided us with financial relief.
Human activities and bad weather have affected the tree's life cycle and productivity. Demand for lumber and fuel from the tree has increased. Among other things, residents of Sumpini and Kojope are now resorting to cutting down shea trees for firewood.
This is the main source of livelihood for residents here. And residents here say they have no any alternative than to cut down trees.
It's been years since the trees haven't produced enough fruit, and some are dying. The only work we do as women is gather shea nuts and sell them. But because they are no longer bearing fruits, we cut them and use the money to support our families.
Enough here, averagely.
Here is Hajia Alima Sagito Said, Executive Director of the Savannah Women Integrated Development Agency.
During the shea season, you can get women picking on average up to 385 kg bag of shea nuts. Some can pick more. Income. Currently, a bag in the open market is sold for 600. That's 85 kg. If averagely a woman is able to pick 3 bags, then you are looking at a woman that would have been earning extra 1,800 cedis from the shea, and this could do so much for the woman.
The shea tree grows mostly in the wild, and residents say no one owns it because it germinates, grows on its own, and has no natural enemies. It is estimated that Ghana was home to about 9.4 million shea trees, which could potentially yield 100 tons of shea nut worth about $100 million per year.
The shea nut tree is an economic tree in the northern region.
Clement Matumasin is the Executive Director for Dream Village, a regenerative agriculture that promotes biological diversity.
This has become so dominant that even people cut down shea nut trees to process shea butter. It brings the question, what is the future for a lot of these women who use it as an economic tree? The northern region has one of the highest quality shea nut that is being produced. And unfortunately, this diminishing situation of cutting down the trees is also affecting how much shea nuts can be produced in the north.
According to Clement, the alarming number of dying shea trees requires immediate attention.
So this is an alarming problem that we all need to be concerned. We have spoken to a lot of chiefs to try to put a ban on the cutting down of trees in general, but it's also the constant burning of the shea nut trees that is preventing new shea nuts.
Even though shea is a fire resistance plant, but definitely consistency weakens the natural fruiting ability. So we are aware that it's not working the way it should be. The volumes are reducing and we need to take action. So for us, we have a number of savings groups that are also share pickers. So in a number of our interventions, we've been raising the issues with them to be able to see what other things they can do instead of just relying so much on charcoal as an alternative. So we are introducing a number of climate-friendly agricultural interventions today.
A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
This is the point where you get to have your say. Welcome aboard the Have Your Say segment on the AM show. The phone lines will be on your screens in a bit. Everything we've discussed here today, if you have questions, if you have a contribution, call us and let's get interactive. Ben.
But before we get into that number, let me also celebrate lawyer John Akologo Akazi. John Akologo Akazi of Ekufuado Prempeh and Co. Chambers. Today happens to be your birthday. From all of us here at the Multimedia Group, we celebrate you, John Akologo Akazi of Ekufuado Prempeh and Co. Chambers. Have a happy birthday.
Don't
Number
forget,
to call, 0302-211-691 extension 2. Sweetie.
So the AM show is sponsored by Waylead Properties, providing quality housing at affordable cost with flexible payment option. And while we are doing Have Your Say, I do want to bring this important information to your attention. If you're ready to dream, dare, and deliver in the world of IT, then look no further than Jackson Institute of Technology. It's the only NIIT authorized training center in Ghana. At JIT, we provide world-class IT training for individuals and corporate organizations, equipping you with industry-relevant skills in software development, cybersecurity, networking, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, digital marketing, and many more. We also offer globally recognized certifications, practical job-ready training, and flexible hybrid learning options, which allows you to study either online or on-site. And our expert instructors ensure hands-on learning experiences that prepare you for success in today's digital world. And we are conveniently located on the Ring Road near Circle in the heart of Accra's Central Business District. And in Kumasi, you can find us at Jackson Educational Complex headquarters at Ayediase near KNUST. JIT provides easy access for students and corporate clients, and our state-of-the-art auditorium is also available for corporate events, seminars, and training sessions. You can call or send us a WhatsApp on this number, 059-699-6037 or 059-699-6038 or 055-271-4635 or visit our website at www.jit.edu.gh. Call us now and let's get interactive.
Well, you know the numbers to call, 0302-211-691 extension 2. It's at the bottom of your screen. And let's squeeze in the thoughts we have. We have Eric from Kumasi calling us. Eric, morning.
Yeah, good morning.
What are your thoughts for us, Eric?
Yeah, my thought this morning has to do with Samidian fees.
Please speak up for us. Please speak up for us.
Yeah, I'm saying that my concern is about Samidian fees issue.
Which issue again?
I'm talking about the Samidian fees issue.
All right, please go ahead.
Concerning
we can barely hear you, but go ahead.
The dollar issue. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead, Eric.
I think the issue is that people are misunderstanding what the concerns are. Our concerns is that he could have decided to give Agrada his entire life savings. Nobody cares about that. But giving Agrada dollars, knowing very well that in this country we are spending cedis. When did Sami Gyamfi started sharing dollars in his lifetime? He should show us his previous dashing money to people if he has ever shared dollars to people, with the exception that he has just been appointed as the CEO of Gold Board or whatever, and he started sharing dollars. You can check from my X account. I've supported Sami Gyamfi since my childhood, and I love that guy, but he really hurt some of us.
All right, Eric. But wouldn't it be a bit pretentious to say he should show you the videos of him dashing dollars? I mean, if you're dashing money out in your past life, will you have it on record? But that's all that time will allow us for. We have another caller online. Is it Chris?
Grateful.
Okay.
Grateful.
Hi, Chris. Good morning. Do we have Chris online?
Is it Alex from Accra?
Alex?
Do we have Alex on the line from Accra? All right, it appears Alex may not be able to hear us.
Can you hear me?
Alex, don't listen to us from your TV.
Can you hear me?
Yes, talk to us directly.
Good. Yeah, this is Alex from the line. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Alex. Go.
Can you hear me?
Alex, we can hear you. Don't listen to us from your TV set.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
So I must say that Joy needs to doing so well. I've been following through.
Alex, are you still with us? Okay, so for those of you who will call, please do us a favor. Once you call that number, move away from your TV set or your any other gadget you're using. Talk to us on the phone so there'll be no delay. We have Cephas on the line. Good morning, Cephas. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning. I'm calling from Jessica.
All right, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we should pardon Sami Gyamfi because as it stands now, there's no law that he has broken. It's just something morally that is wrong with spreading dollars. So we should just pardon him. He's a young politician who has just started life. So I think Ghanaians should pardon him for his inaction or actions. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling and keeping it brief. We have Haruna online. Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning, madam. How are you?
I'm great. What's going on?
How's the day?
Talk to us.
Greetings to everybody. I want to contribute to this Sami Gyamfi issue. I'm surprised that any people are defending Sami Gyamfi when the guy himself has apologized. He has done the untoward, dicing money with not in it is dollars to somebody who's not. I mean, the guy the lady is not a needy. She's just somebody everyone knows. At least she's well to do. There you go. Give dollars. Is it that he wants to defend the lady or what? I don't get that at all. And he has apologized, and some these people are still defending. It's just on the guy has really realized that he has done it wrong. How would you defend the
All right. Well, thank you for also contributing to the conversation. We appreciate you calling. Now let's speak to Yusuf. Yusuf, where are you calling from? And go for it.
Okay, I'm calling from Tajima. I heard a lot of people trying to defend the actions of Sami Gyamfi on camera. And I was surprised because in Ghana, like other people,
we're still listening to you. Are you still with us?
Some people from public office go around sharing dollars to people as a gift, whilst others even kept it in their rooms and others complain about it. Why now that you are trying to defend sharing the same currency that you complain of people keeping them in your room? Is it fair?
Well, thank you so much for calling and also adding your voice to the matter. But you're not restricted to this Sami Gyamfi issue. Anything at all on your mind you can share with us. Philip, where are you calling us from? Techiman.
Techiman.
All right,
Yes.
what's on your mind?
Yeah, Semi should be punished. He should be punished because what he has shown is opulent. Even in the Bible, that is not how giving is done. It's just opulent. And he should be punished to be humbled. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. Ben, looks like this Sammy Jane Fish story is not going away anytime soon.
I mean, it's a hot topic that many people are talking about and definitely will serve them. Hello, good morning. What's your name, please? Do we have Esther on the line?
Hello.
Okay, that definitely sounds like. What's your name, please?
Hello.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Upper West Region.
You're calling from where?
Upper West Region.
What's your name, please?
My name is Yusuf.
Oh, Yusuf. Okay, go ahead, Yusuf.
Okay. You know what some agency is doing is not good. You know, Ghana here, what the leaders are doing.
Hello, Yusuf.
Doesn't appear Yusuf is with us, Ben. I was expecting Auntie Esther, but we didn't have that either.
Well, that sounded
So,
very
call
much
back.
like Yusuf rather than
Yeah.
Esther. Do we have Esther on the line?
No, we don't. Okay, that's okay.
All right.
The numbers are still on your screen. Call us. But I think we have just 1 minute or so before we wrap up the segment. So who's going to be our last caller for the day? And don't forget that, okay, we have Yusuf back from Yendi. Yusuf, go ahead.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, Yusuf.
How are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Is this a different Yusuf?
Yeah, this is Yusuf Yendi.
Oh, okay, yes. So that's a different Yusuf.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
Let me comment about the semi-agency issue.
Go ahead.
I want to ask the question.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a city or dollars?
Are you asking us? What did you see?
Yeah, I'm asking either dollars or Ghana cedis.
What did you see?
I see the money, but I don't see the colors, you know.
Okay.
Very clear.
All right.
Yeah. But if it's true that some agencies share dollars, I think that President Mama is also fair to Ghanaians. In all code of conduct, what you sign, you should have been fired by now. Special prosecutor, is it in Ghana?
Well, Yusuf from Yendi.
Special prosecutor, is it in Ghana or is he sleeping in Europe? Thank you very much, madam. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Yusuf.
That was very passionate, on fire. We conclude the calls with Saki. Saki, good morning. What are your thoughts for us?
Yeah. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. What I want to say is some agencies conduct, I mean, though not equal is pardonable. So we should pardon. But what I want to say is that that reaction, which is in support of some agencies conduct by one Bundy sought to insult anybody who sought to compare what some agency did with that of Cecilia Dapa as that person who does that, who compares these two issues is a madness. I think they must be called to retract that statement. Well, it's very insulting to the sensibility of Ghanaians.
Saki, we're grateful. You're our last caller. Thank you for joining the conversation. Just as yesterday, we're grateful to all of you who have taken the time to spend your credits and interact with us. We're grateful to you, but it's time now for us to step aside for the Joy News Desk crew to come on board. My name is Benjamin Akakbo. I've done this together with
Sweetie Abochi, and it's always my pleasure to sit here and interact with you guys. Thank you for staying with us. Stay for Joy News Desk. I believe MFA Akosia Adeti will be serving you.